Justin Freakin is a formidable voice in the culture.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
We'll see who counts the food.
Come on, man.
This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Listen. I haven't seen you guys since Valentine's Day, and the reason why is I showed you Rachel Dolezal's asshole, and I haven't been the same since. I had to take some time off. BB girl, good evening. Oh, you did some fungus. I'm so glad you had a good time. Did you go out in nature? Okay, so there's like two different types of tripping you can do. You can go out in nature and you can enjoy the sun is fun while you're tripping. Clinically, your friendly neighborhood news gimp has arrived. I have finally recovered from seeing Rachel Dolezal's asshole. We're gonna find out what that news be doing. I'm proud of the show that we're getting ready to do because it is jam-packed. It's a lot of content. I think we're gonna learn a lot. However, there's some sad moments to this show. There's gonna be some fun moments. There's gonna be some sad moments to this show. And I cried the entire time I was putting together the series of stories that we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna try my best not to cry when we actually get to it, but there's been a horrendous incident. It's made national news, but I don't know how well it has permeated the culture. Party lights and Radiohead or Pink Floyd, that's my kind of thing. M83, MGMT, that's what I like to do when I'm tripping. I can get into a little 9 Inch Nails, but it's a little, I like real happy Passion Pit. I like real happy upbeat music when I'm tripping. 9 Inch Nails gets a little, and you gotta watch out with the Radiohead, right? Radiohead got some fucking jams, but they got some songs that make you want to slit your wrist. Really? It's my favorite thing to do. I'm one of those people, I gotta have a whole routine planned out. We're gonna play some video games, something that's like Tetris with the Tetris effect. Libertad, good evening. With all the music and shit, fantastic while you're coming up. DJ Dub, good evening, my friend. And when you start losing your motor skills, that's when it's like, all right, time to put the video games away. Let's put on the party lights and dance. Put on the party lights and dance. And when you're coming down on the backside, I like to do a movie. I like to do like Fantasia. Fantasia was one of the movies I watched while tripping that I really enjoyed. I miss tripping. I need to trip. Speaking of which, I'm not high enough for this shit. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. I've got a client I want to bitch about. Curiouser saw the video I did for him. So he's a nurse. And he's doing like health YouTube videos. Health and fitness YouTube videos. And Curiouser, like, first thing he said, she was like, well, that's not true. He's full of shit. Warlord, good evening. I've been busy, guys. Like, I'm sorry. I really apologize. I'm trying to keep on a regular schedule, but like, I've been trying to not. I've been barely scraping. I've been doing the bare minimal to get by for years now. And I'm at the point now where I would like to meat cakes. I'm sorry. That's what I was explaining. I'm trying to concentrate more on my business. I make videos for people. If anybody, you were just here a couple weeks ago, weren't you? It hasn't been that long. We had a daytime stream. Something was going on, and you were here. Have I done a daytime stream recently? I don't even fucking remember. I've missed you, meat cakes. God damn it, Socks. Well, basically, I'm trying to concentrate on my actual business, because some of the discourse that I've missed out on while I've been away is apparently Hassan said some shit about how hard his job was as a streamer. Can I just go ahead and say I hate streamers? Hate them with a passion. Me included. I hate my self-loathing over here. I hate all streamers, right? Vosh, Hassan, all y'all suck. Hey, I've got some self-awareness. Apparently there's a whole host of streamers that don't have any fucking self-awareness whatsoever. And then you get in the comments and people are defending them and shit, and I don't even understand it. I don't want to get into that. I had a whole falling out with a bunch of streamers about how streaming isn't a real job. But I have a real job. I have a real business. And I should really concentrate on doing that. And that's what I've been doing. And sometimes people just, they overwhelm me. I have a hippie, I don't even know what to, hippie, that's not the right word. A new age woo. A school that I make videos for now. I've got the nurse that was full of shit, man. And he started talking about how he was from the Bronx and how he was going to move down to the free state of Florida because migrants can get away with beating cops up. It was insane. I was like, well, this guy's definitely a dumb fuck. I've met cats and dogs smarter than Chaya Rachik. If you haven't seen the video, I think producer Dave played it last night. So some of you may have already watched it. We're going to watch the highlights. I went and looked and seen how long the actual thing is. It's like an hour of them talking back and forth. So we're gonna watch three of the best clips from it. But I'll link it in the chat if you want to watch the whole thing. And as Ricky said, I've met cats and dogs smarter than Chaya Rachik. But this nurse that I'm doing the videos for, the thing that's been cracking me up is the way he's. And Curiouser even predicted it. He was like, I bet he hates high fructose corn syrup. And I'm like, yes, he rails against it all the time. Which I'm not in disagreement about that. But the way he says it, I don't want to make fun of him because he may have a speech impediment. But the speech impediment with the Bronx accent is just, it's hilarious to me. Here's what I'm talking about.
So every time you eat something with fructose, a lot of fructose, it goes right to your liver.
So when you eat something with a lot of fructose.
So every time you eat something with fructose, a lot of fructose, it goes right to your liver.
And I'm editing this guy, and it's like every other word is fructose. Sucks, buddy. You're killing me. You're killing me. Why are we canceling Justin this time? I didn't do anything. I did not do 9/11. Oh shit. He ain't coming over and getting on camera, is he? He's wanting to be over here behind the camera. So he can like tease me and shit. It's Socks. Socks is the one that's doing this shit and aggravating me, right? He's coming back over here again. Socks, dude, stop it. How often do you see Socks on camera? You don't, because he don't like to get on camera. Am I unbanned from where? I'm currently banned on Facebook. I had another dumb fuck try to come at me on Facebook, and I might have photoshopped myself into pictures with his wife, because I do things like that. But calling his kids potatoes apparently crosses the line, and I got banned for that. Hold on. This might have been my favorite picture I did. I actually photoshopped my head onto their baby. So I've got the two of them. I know, I'm insulting kids and everything. So I've got the two of them holding baby me. Holy shit, I know I'm not even bald anymore. I explained this to the Facebook though. I really should quit using the bald picture, but I'm in the awkward phase. Like my hair looks really awkward. I posted about it, and Curiouser told me that I should Photoshop my pictures. I was like, what do you mean Photoshop? Photoshop them like this? Put a little sombrero on my head? I have fun. I kid. I've met cats and dogs smarter than Chaya Rachik. I don't even know if I'm saying her name right. That's not the only thing we're going to talk about tonight. She's got blood on her hands. We're going to talk about the blood that she has on her hands, and hopefully I won't cry when we're doing that story. Hopefully I won't cry when I describe Trump winning the South Carolina primary. I wonder if Lindsey Graham cried when he got booed at Trump's victory speech. Nikki Haley responded to her resounding loss in her home state this morning on the Today Show. We're going to get the CPAC poll for who the conservative crazies think should be Trump's running mate. I've not peeked. I'm not a pre-watch Andy on this one. I have no clue who it is. Once again, I am backing Marjorie Taylor Greene. That is my pick for his vice presidential pick. We're going to get a taste of what Trump had to say at CPAC, because apparently he tore the house down with some crude insults and mockery. So I'm very much looking forward to watching this clip. Trump's lawyers saying today that they want Fani Willis, the DA in Georgia, to testify again after new evidence was uncovered in Georgia. That testimony, the original testimony, taking place like the day after the last time I saw you guys. So I didn't get a chance to cover it. So how's about we watch the tasty bits, the top 10 moments from Fani Willis's explosive testimony. We're going to check in on the New Jersey Senate primary. Apparently, Tammy Murphy has been denied yet again. The California Senate primary. We're going to look in on that race where apparently one Democrat may emerge from the field along with one Republican, thanks to the two progressives cannibalizing the Democratic vote in the Senate primary, unfortunately. Voters in Michigan say they would rather vote for Mickey Mouse than Joe Biden. Where's my drop? I haven't hit it in so long. Where's it at?
Come on, man.
Snicks. Good evening, Snicks. Rychik. Kaya Rychik. Who this is not a story that I'm going to go into. However, several people on Twitter misgendered her, called her a trans woman, circulated a story that it had been confirmed. I don't know how I feel about that. Vivek. Warlord's still on the Vivek train. I don't know how I feel about misgendering a bigot, you know? On the one hand, me as an edgy comedian, shock jock, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I'm all about, whatever whatever gets under the skin of the person you're insulting. But from a societal norms kind of deal, from the world that we want our kids to grow up in, the aspirational. The fuck am I even talking to? Kid? I don't have any fucking kids. The aspirational world. I'm not high enough for this shit. Fuck it, misgender the cunt. I don't give a shit. Did I mention I hate streamers? Yeah, clip that. Clip that. Clip just me saying misgender the cunt. I don't give a shit. That is definitely something somebody can use against me. Out of context. Shit, even with the context, it doesn't make me sound all that good. Justin loves people that are gender fluid. Justin is totally cool with anybody however they want to be and invites everybody to the orgy. The problem is big. It's like Miss Raychick here. Raychick. Some Michigan Democrats say that they would rather vote for Mickey Mouse than Joe Biden. And that might have something to do with his position on continuing to fund and abet a genocide in Gaza, which apparently a Marine, I believe that was the branch he was representing, it was an armed serviceman, was in front of the White House earlier today and set himself on fire. We might find out if he lived or not. Apparently, we'll get the rundown from a reporter. I don't know if she was on the scene, but she had a witness account at least. Apparently, the cops stood with their guns drawn, pointing at the dude who was on fire, telling him to get down on the ground. And I totally believe that. Self-immolation, a form of protest. Benjamin Netanyahu this morning on Face the Nation spoke some truth. I hate to admit it. Said that the U.S. would be doing much worse if they experienced October 7th, and he's kind of right. The body of Alexei Navalny, who was assassinated in Russia. I guess that's not confirmed. Allegedly assassinated. He was assassinated. Can I say that? Like he was like we all know he was assassinated. I don't have to say allegedly, do I? He was assassinated. Body returned to his mother. We had another balloon. It's almost like a fucking year to the day, isn't it? Of the last balloon craze. We're gonna do some economic stories tonight. CEOs are cashing in or cashing out, cashing out and cashing in. Widespread tech layoffs despite a strong economy. We're gonna get some music in here. We're gonna talk about Beyonce's country album, which is apparently akin to a dog pissing on a tree. Michael Knowles really doesn't like Ice Spice. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. Good evening, welcome. It's 8:20. I promise to always be doing the news by 8:20. I try to get my rambling done. Get the plugs for what we're going to be talking about in. The South Carolina primary was yesterday. Trump ran away with it. Nikki Haley defeated in her home state.
We ran 2 great races, but there's never been a spirit like this.
With this 20-point win in the South Carolina Republican primary, Donald Trump is that much closer to securing the Republican nomination.
What do you mean that much closer? It's over. It's been over. Everybody agrees it's over. This motherfucker is the Republican nominee.
The primary, in a lot of respects, was over before it began, and certainly
Thank you, Molly.
the consistent trend we've seen in the primary so far means that, Trump doesn't have anything to prove. Trump's last remaining challenger, Nikki Haley, trailed him by a wide margin, but she did make one thing clear in her speech on Saturday night.
No matter what happens in South Carolina, I would continue to run for president.
South Carolina is an important state on this primary map. It's the first southern state to vote, and the South is really the bedrock of today's Republican Party. Trump's victory in South Carolina gives him that many more delegates, that much closer to that magic number of officially clinching the nomination. For Haley, it's a bit of a different situation. South Carolina, of course, is Nikki Haley's home state. She was born and raised there and served as the state's governor for 6 years. The fact that South Carolina's Republican voters have turned on Nikki Haley so decisively, despite how much they once loved her, is really a psychic blow to her and her campaign, and a psychic victory for Trump to be able to say this is her state and she still couldn't win it. It's really a sign of how the Republican Party, both in South Carolina and across the country, has been taken over by Donald Trump. Despite the big win, it's not necessarily smooth sailing for Trump.
I don't even like the idea that it's been taken. Well, Richard, technically Bernie had a shot. He was still, Haley's still mathematically in it. But it's impossible. Also, good evening, Richard. I don't like this idea that Trump somehow took over the Republican Party. He is the culmination of everything the Republicans have been doing for the last 70 years. Read a fucking history book. So the idea that he is separate from the Republican Party is absurd to me.
From here on out.
And also, Bernie was meant to be a protest candidacy that actually had a shot to win. That, he looked up in January, was like, holy shit, we might actually be able to pull this out. It was an outside chance at that point. But his original goal was never to win the nomination. It was only to push Hillary Clinton to the left. So I don't know. Nikki Haley's goal seems to be there should Trump drop out for some reason, I assume. She's only there because there's money backing her.
If we consider him the presumptive nominee, Donald Trump has a very challenging path ahead of him. He is famously facing a huge onslaught from the legal system, 91 criminal charges in 4 different cases, as well as some civil trials. So he's going to have a very full calendar in the courtroom going forward.
It's election interference at the highest level. It's a disgrace.
That could create complications for him financially as well. He has been using his political apparatus to pay a lot of his legal fees. That has been called into question with some Republican officials saying that the Republican National Committee should not be spending that money for Trump and it should come out of his own pocket.
These repulsive abuses of power are not just an attack on me. They're really an attack on you and all Americans.
Most people think that it hurts Trump in the general election to be facing so much legal difficulty.
I don't believe Donald Trump can beat Joe Biden.
We have seen in head-to-head polls that test Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. He wins some, he loses some, but it tends to be very close. Whereas in many polls, Haley defeats Biden in a blowout. She beats him in some instances by double digits in those early polls.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
Much more popular with a more well-off, more educated, and wealthier group of voters. Really, that's what is enabling her to stay in this race, is that she's not in danger of running out of money. Things can always change, But even in the 16 states that are voting on Super Tuesday, we really don't see anywhere that looks promising for Nikki Haley. If Trump keeps sweeping through the Republican primaries as quickly as he has, he could wrap up the nomination as soon as mid-March, which would put us on course for that Trump-Biden rematch we've been expecting.
I mean, it's going to be 16 resounding losses on Super Tuesday, right? I don't see any other thing happening. I really enjoy this. So Trump's, I guess this was his victory speech last night. He introduces our good friend Lindsey Graham, and look what happens.
Another man, not a lot of people know him. He doesn't do too much television. He happens to be a little bit further left than some of the people on the stage. But I always say, when I'm in trouble on the left, I call up Lindsey Graham and he straightens it out so fast. And
Quesadilla.
No.
Good evening.
Remember. What?
A resounding chorus of boos towards Senator Lindsey Graham.
And I'll tell you, no. Remember. What? I love him. He's a good man. Come up here, Lindsey. Come here.
Okay.
Oh no, I want to hear him keep booing him. How does he win? Not even the Republicans like him in South Carolina. I don't get it. Nikki Haley responded to her resounding loss. I've used resounding too many times tonight. Overwhelming. Landslide loss. Nikki Haley commented this morning on the Today Show, or yesterday's Today Show. I don't fucking know.
Exclusively live by Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley in South Carolina this morning. Ambassador Haley, good morning to you.
This is before she lost.
Good morning. It's a great day in South Carolina.
Well, no doubt it's a day for voters to finally get out there.
Damn it.
The primary is in your home state. As you know well, the polls show that you're trailing by 2-1 to Donald Trump, and mostly across the board. In an interview earlier this week, you said that you weren't certain that Donald Trump would stay in this race if he's convicted. Aren't you banking on the fact that he will be convicted and that you'll be the last candidate standing?
What I'm banking on the fact is that he can't win a general election. I mean, you look at the Marquette poll that came out this week. He's margin of error with Joe Biden. I defeat Joe Biden by 18 points. This is the fact that if we really want to see a
That's insane.
We have to win. And we can't win with someone who is not able to win a general election. I mean, you look at 70% of Americans don't want Joe Biden or Donald Trump. 60% of Americans think Joe Biden's too old and Donald Trump's too old to be president. I'm showing that the American people need a voice. They need to be able to say that they want an option different than what they're being given, and we're trying to give them that.
So let me try to pin you down on that, though, if I can. You can't win a general election if you don't win the primary here. So have you had any conversations with party leaders assuring you that they would support you if Donald Trump is convicted?
No, I haven't had any conversations about that. This isn't about conviction. It's about chaos. There is chaos all around him. I mean, Republicans lost with him in 2018. They lost with him in 2020. They lost with him in 2022. But you look a couple of weeks ago, Republicans lost the vote on the border. They lost the vote on Israel. The RNC chair lost her position, and he had his fingerprints on all of that. Everything he touches is chaos that leads to a loss. And how many more times do Republicans have to lose before they realize that maybe he's the one that's the problem?
He's right.
Speaking of chaos, let's turn to what's going on.
I don't understand how she beats Biden by, what, 18 points is what they said? What? How? Who are they polling? Give her a titty slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Who are these people that would vote for Nikki Haley that aren't in the Republican Party. She ain't getting votes in the primary. She's getting trounced. So there's a whole bunch of swing voters or liberals that will vote Republican if Nikki Haley would be the nominee. That's absurd. We all know the heart and soul of the Republican Party is the CPAC crowd. Let's see what the CPAC poll says. The crazies in the Republican Party who they want as Trump's running mate. Former Hawaii Democrat Representative Tulsi Gabbard came in third with 9%. Vivek, number 1. Tied with Kristi Noem. Both getting 15%. I skipped over the winners. The winner of the poll was Vivek, Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard, Tim Scott, and then Elise Stefanik. My pick of Marjorie Taylor Greene, not even on the list. Representative Byron Donalds, Carrie Lake, Ron DeSantis, Huckabee Sanders, and Ben Carson are your top 10. CPAC didn't pick Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, clinically, that's a good point. But is Trump thinking about... Trump is seeing the money MGT can raise and thinking she could raise that for him. This is not about helping the Republicans overall, remember. But you are right about that. She might be too valuable to the Republican caucus. However, it really seems like she's been auditioning to be SVP. So Vivek wins the poll at CPAC. What do you guys think about that? Wow, could you see that? Could you see the Senate Majority Leader, Marjorie Taylor Greene? God damn. Apparently Trump really put on a show for the crazies at CPAC. This is a good highlight reel of some of his impressions as the crowd laughs.
Just one stare, but for Biden you need many. But when I imitate him with the stares, because he never can find his way. If you ever see Secret Service runs up and grabs him and, helps him off the stage. This is what we have negotiating nuclear weapons. So he finishes his speech, and do you ever notice? He finishes it. The speeches last about, would you say average 2-3 minutes, right? Very quick. They're very quick and not good. Not good. But the press gives him good marks. I remember when he made such a bad State of the Union speech. Everything was stumbling, mumbling. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I said, I'm going to watch CNN, MSDNC to find out what they say, because that was one of the worst speeches. They said, not since FDR has there been a speech so magnificently delivered. I'm telling you, I've never, ever forgotten it. Not since FDR. I said, it's impossible. They're fake. They're terrible. But you know what? When he goes, and he always points, he goes like this. Thank you. Where am I? Thank you. And then he goes. And he points. You ever notice? And it's always he ends up going in the opposite direction ultimately. But he goes. And then But if there's a wall behind him, he ends up walking into the wall. And then one of these incredible guys from Secret Service, all these beautiful guys, they run up stage. Look at these guys, like central casting. Right? They'll run up stage, they'll grab him, and they're not meant to smile. You know, they're very hard line. When I tell stories, they're like this. I guess they're trained that way. They never smile. You say, good morning. Well, sure. They actually turn away. It's good. This way you don't have to say good morning all the time, okay? No, they train them this way. But so one of these guys will run up and grab him and take him off the stage. This is what we have as our president. But the worst thing is when I do that, the fake news. I call up my wife, our great first lady. She was a great first. People love her.
This is where he calls her Mercedes.
Yeah, people love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good.
It is.
Yeah, she's good.
He called his wife by the wrong name. The wife, apparently, who's getting ready to hit the campaign trail. Yeah, that was great. I had only seen the headline. I didn't know this was the video.
But the worst thing is when I do that, the fake news. I call up my wife, our great first lady. She was a great first. People love her.
Come on,
people
man.
love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good.
Mercedes Trump.
And she loves our country and she loves the people. It's true. When I give these big rallies, we give rallies, they say, we love our first lady. They have signs, we love her. They always show a high heel, you know. We love our first lady. But I call up our first lady, I say, oh, baby, how good was that? She goes, you were okay. She's a very tough critic.
Oh my God. I'm sure every time you ask her, hey baby, how good was that? And she's like, you were okay. That's hilarious.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Our country and she loves the people. It's true. When I give these big rallies, we give rallies, they say, we love our first lady. They have signs, we love her. They always show a high heel, you know. We love our first lady. But I call up our first lady, I say, oh, baby, how good was that? She goes, you were okay. She's a very tough critic. I'll go into a group, I'll speak in front of 55, 56, 68,000 people sometimes. I'll call her up, I'll say, how good was I tonight? Was that unbelievable? She goes, well, your hair didn't look good. Oh, that's not good. But it's very hard to get like, you know, once in a while she goes, you were really good tonight. But that's like a major. But I said, in this case, I said, how good was that tonight? She said, you were really good tonight, but what happened? You couldn't find your way off the stage. Because the fake news said Donald Trump couldn't find his way off the stage. I said, wow. Or when I interject a name. Like I go, our president, Barack Hussein Obama. Rush Limbaugh, remember? He would always, right, Seb?
I do remember Rush Limbaugh. Libertad, are you saying he gives her 5 inches of fist? Is that what you're saying?
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
Rush wasn't a dummy. Rush wasn't no dummy.
Rush would go, Barack Hussein. You couldn't hear Barack or Obama, but the name Hussein, he'd be screaming. I don't know exactly what he meant by that. I think I do. But he'd go, Barack Hussein. So I'd go,
means your followers are racist.
Hussein Obama, our president, has done this. Now, I meant that because there are those people that say he's running our country. Because Joe is not strong on aptitude. So there are those. We don't know that that's true. But they go out and they say, Donald Trump, headline. Donald Trump doesn't know who the president of our country. He thinks Obama's the president, Lou. Eh? Look at the great Lou Dobbs. He thinks Obama.
Lou Dobbs is there.
The president. So when I'm sarcastic, Because I'm sort of a sarcastic guy. I find humor in sarcasm, but it's very dangerous to do because they take it very seriously. But it's a very serious subject.
Sir, I don't think you understand humor.
Finish the first story. What happened? Hey, by the way, isn't this better than reading off a frickin' teleprompter? Right? Right? Anybody can do that except for Biden.
That was kind of fun. I will give him that. That's the most fun I've had watching a Trump clip in quite some time. He's lost a lot of his magic, but that one was fun. Someone who's not having fun right now is one Miss Fani Willis, the prosecutor in Georgia, under intense scrutiny. Trump lawyers say Fani Willis should testify again after new evidence has been presented. Donald Trump's lawyers have argued in a new filing on Sunday that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis should testify again in light of new evidence in her disqualification hearing. What is this evidence? Cell phone evidence as McAfee weighs whether or not to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. It's apparently an affidavit from a private investigator who analyzed Wade's cell phone location. Wade is the prosecutor that she brought on to work on the case, the assistant DA. She was apparently having an affair with Willis and Nathan Wade, prosecutors she hired in 2021 to lead the racketeering case against the former president, have been under fire for a personal relationship that ended in the summer of 2023. Trump and 18 co-defendants have been accused of conspiring to overturn Joe Biden's 2020 election win in Georgia. The former president has pled not guilty to all charges and claimed that the case was politically motivated as he is the GOP frontrunner in the 2024 presidential election. Last week, Judge Scott McAfee, who was presiding over the case, held a series of hearings to determine if Willis and her office will be disqualified due to the personal relationship between the district attorney and Wade. Trump and some of his co-defendants not only argued for the removal of Willis's office, but for the entire case to be dropped, because of course they did, due to what they perceive as a conflict of interest. However, Willis and Wade have claimed that their relationship started in the spring of 2022 after Willis hired him, and that neither have financially benefited from it. I don't see how their relationship has anything to do with the case against Trump. Now, should they be disqualified, the judge can throw out the charges, but that's not very likely. More than likely, they would reassign a DA from somewhere else in the state. That DA could drop the charges or continue to pursue them. The problem with appointing a DA from somewhere else in the state is that really only the Atlanta office has the resources to prosecute a case that fucking massive against like the President of the United States. So appointing a different office might be an issue. Now let's get the sauciest moments from the Fani Willis time on the stand.
You live in sexual anarchy?
It was apparently must-watch viewing. We're going to get the 10 best clips, apparently starting with her arrival in the courtroom.
Suddenly, he's changing it. She files her financial declarations, same problems. We need her in here to go over all of this and to explain exactly what happened. So we would ask the court that the court allow Ms. Willis to be called and interrogated on these matters.
And I would too, Your Honor.
Just a moment, Ms. Willis. So
he's raring to go.
I don't know if you want to speak with Ms. Willis now. It's sounding like maybe they're withdrawing
I believe
the objection to the motion.
I believe the motion to.
Or does Ms. Willis want to take the lead here?
We'll withdraw the motion to quash Ms. Willis based on the. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so the position of the district attorney at this point is that she's no longer contesting the subpoena. Ms. Merchant has called her as the next witness.
Her buying her man Booze and food is nothing out of the ordinary. I believe that's what women do for the scrubs they pick up.
All right, so that was it, just the argument, no testimony.
Right, I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued, but since it did, here I am.
Great. So let's just talk about what you did in preparation for today. Did you meet with Mr. Wade at all? Once the motion was filed, did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion.
I love her.
It was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
Okay, but my question was, did you have a conversation with him?
I didn't have a substantive conversation.
You did not?
I read this motion, skimmed it more so, and I've probably said some choice things to him about some of the lies they were told.
Okay.
And then printed in the media because, you know, we used to be in a day and time where you had 60 Minutes and people did stories and they verified information and you had this great reporting. But it seems today that a lawyer writes a lie and then it's printed for all of the world to see.
Well, I just want to make sure that you answer the question I asked, though. So my question was...
Well, this is absolutely character assassination. Her relationship with this prosecutor has fuck all to do with Donald Trump and his criminal activity. So go fuck yourself. This is a distraction. And this is a tactic to try every dirty tactic they can pull. Now, fucking, you probably shouldn't be having an affair with a dude that works under you. That's not a thing that should happen. But like the two things are separate. It looks bad on your part, Miss Willis. But also, like, I'm behind you. It's nobody's fucking business. Coworkers have affairs all the fucking time. It has nothing to do with how you do your job.
Rule, Mr. Abadi.
I told you what happened. I read the motion. I am sure I told him what my opinion of it is. Okay. And past that, we had no substantive conversation.
You did not. Okay.
Is there something you didn't understand?
It shows bad judgment on her part. Indeed. I like this response back here.
Okay. Is there something you didn't understand?
No, I just wanted to make sure that...
Okay.
Is there something you didn't understand? Really like it. This is my first time seeing her speak.
On when the state was
Well,
able
it's
to
highly
follow
offensive
up.
when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
All right, well, Ms. Willis, she'll...
There is nothing wrong with sleeping with somebody the first day that you met them. Done it many times in my life.
Flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And, well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my question was...
He's right.
I object to getting any personal records of mine.
We're not dealing with privilege through a witness.
And I'm not, no, I'm not dealing with privilege. What we had offered to put them in camera for the court to review, and I just want to know if she has any
That's
problem.
not something you deal with a witness.
That's what.
Just make me a sandwich. I think we're getting to that here. Cash Money is the name of this one.
When you meet my father, he was going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does. When we were...
I bet I can understand why he feels like that. Make me a sandwich.
That's what I said.
I'll let you... Next question, Mr. Stato. If you need to clarify.
Want to say one more? The romantic relationship ended before the indictment was returned, yes or no?
To a man, yes.
Well, to a man, yes. To you, no?
She's explained this, Mr. Stato. She's explained this.
And did the forthcoming indictment have anything to do with that? Or was it just a coincidence?
Mr., let's go on and have the conversation.
I'm just asking you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
Whoa! Oh, we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. We got more.
I think is reflected on a debit card. What my recollection is, I took about $4 in cash with me to that.
400 or 4,000?
4,000. But I remember I handed him 2,500, and then the rest was just the money we spent. I probably gave $300 or $400 to this guy who was a taxi driver. He would drive us every day around the 2 or 3 days we went. Took him to eat like it was my trip money.
And you had, to be clear, to end this up, the 4,000 that you've just told us.
But I didn't give it all to him. Remember, I only gave the 2,500 to him.
I didn't ask you that. I was going to ask you that 4,000 is part of my words, cash hoard.
Okay, Zadia, I'm kind of confused on the timeline. They just said, she testified that he thought they had broken up before the indictment came down. I'm a little fuzzy on that. She appointed him to the case after the indictment. They had already broke up. That is my understanding. And apparently it was something a lot more casual. Maybe he wanted something a lot more with her, and that he wanted her to behave a certain way. And she's like, nah, we are equals. A lot of men seem to be intimidated by women that can, speak for themselves and speak their mind and have powerful positions. I'm not. I'm very turned on by it.
Or that you had collected over time.
Cash what?
Hoard, H-O-R-D-E.
Oh, I thought you said something different, sir.
No, I'm afraid I wouldn't say that. Any circumstances to you or in court.
All right, back on track.
The hoard, cash hoard.
Cash hoard.
I classify it in that way, but I have money at my house. Yes, sir.
Okay. And the money, when you had money at your house?
I'm speaking too loosely. I had money wherever I was staying. So I was not referring to my house in 750. I'm saying I had money wherever I was laying my head. Yes, sir. That was my fault that I wasn't clear.
Okay, so when you were at what we said the Yerti condo during the time period we've always discussed, that's where you would keep your cash.
When I stayed there, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
I think she's done a great job. The goose is loose.
And you all stayed in Napa Valley, and he paid for the plane tickets and the hotel?
He paid for the plane tickets and the hotel.
And what did you pay for on that trip?
I gave him much less cash that time, probably $400 or $500, and then I paid for a bunch of stuff. I think we did 2 different wine tours that you do, which are pretty expensive.
Damn right they are.
He likes wine. I don't really like wine, to be honest with you. I like Grey Goose.
Oh my God!
The wine while we were there, and the sippings that you do. I can't remember how many, like 4 or 5 different places you go. I remember we went to this place that they do pairings.
I date Fannie Willis.
I think that we did while we were there. So they would pair. They would pair champagne, chocolate, and caviar.
Well, Nathan Wade didn't know what he had going for him over here. This woman is a goddess.
It was a 3, and it was like 3 different things: Sweden, Russia, someplace else. I'll make that up. But that was the most expensive thing we did that trip, and I paid for that.
You pay cash
for us doing that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. But that trip did not cost.
I mean, is having cash a weird thing?
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened? No, we're gonna answer it since you said it. He worked. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash. Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given him cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've
if
never
we would go to dinner,
Let her finish her answer.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
The least?
You never wrote him a check?
Gave him a 20?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my question
Are you telling
was,
me
do you
that
have
I'm
any
lying
proof?
to you? Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
You have no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my
In Belize?
In Belize. I spent 800, I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
I've answered you that I've had written proof.
We can move to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
We are still waiting on whether the judge is going to disqualify her from the case. District attorney never missed an opportunity to call out a defense attorney for their line of questioning. She asked Sadow not to yell at her, accused Merchant of lying, and called out attempts to try to trip her up in one tense moment. Merchant questioned Willis about how she would split her bills with Wade and if she ever gave the prosecutor money outside of a contract. That was cute, but I didn't give him money in a contract. I don't know how the judge is going to rule. I mean, technically it's an ethical violation. But it has nothing to do with the case, and it has nothing like it's one of those that deserves an admonishment and moved on. But I mean, Trump is going to take any fucking opportunity to scream foul play. So I don't know how the judge is going to rule in this case. And clearly Fani Willis, a very smart, powerful woman, is exactly who you want to prosecute the case against the former president. From her testimony that we watched, maybe the 10 minutes in total, very much seemed like she was qualified for the position. That's exactly who you want prosecuting Trump. I'm sorry, I didn't grind up any marijuanas before we started this. Grind some up so I can pack another bong, because I ain't high enough for this shit. Talk about some primaries, shall we? Democratic primaries. Not just the presidential primary, it's 2024. Not just Biden on the ballot, bitches. That's a tongue twister. Say that one 5 times fast. Not just Biden on the ballot, bitches. Good night, PB girl. Go ahead. Light one up. Tip one back. Hear me cutting the cocoa. Guys, here's the thing. I don't know if I told you guys last time I saw you. They've They've shut down all our dispensaries. Oh, you're out of weed. Oh, I'm sorry. I was telling you. I'm high. They've shut down our dispensaries. I'm so sad. And because like my buddy's gonna come down for WrestleMania here in a few weeks, and I was really looking forward to take it because like they expanded. The dispensary I go to expanded. They took the building next to it because they were so goddamn busy, and it was so nice. It was the nicest store that we had, and it was also the busiest. Apparently, Governor Youngkin is a dickhead, and despite the fact, because like it's been in that quasi-legal state. Right, so like, I always had to go in and I was buying a t-shirt or I was buying sunglasses or a sticker, and then you get your THC with it as a gift. You know, the fucking loophole like that. 2024, it was supposed to go into effect straight up legal. You know, go give me an ounce of blah, blah, blah. Here's your money for it. Everything was supposed to take effect this year. And instead, they're somehow, and I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it because Democrats won. Democrats won in the Senate and the House in Virginia. We covered it here on this stream. But somehow the executive branch, Governor Glenn Youngkin, is cracking down on weed stores because they've closed them all. They've closed them all. The medical store is still open, as far as I know, but I don't have a medical card. I have to consult with somebody that lives in that state. The venture capital Republican governor is a dickhead. That's exactly who would have thunk it, Richard. It's horrible. Because like it's I assume that, you know, eventually this will get cleared up and my favorite fucking cannabis store will come back to me. But now I'm back to the black market. I have a dealer again. That's weird to me. I have a dealer again. Go ahead. Light one up. And shit, my last dealer down in Alabama, he wasn't really so much a dealer as he was like a wholesaler. It got there for a while where like I would go in with like Sparkles and Curiouser and shit, and we were buying like quarter pounds at a time. He was giving us awesome goddamn deals to move that shit. It wasn't the best, and he told us that. And we were like, fuck, are you okay? Because like it was like, I want to say we paid like $500 a QP one time. Something like that. It was insane. Yes, we'll totally do that. All right, back to the news. Check in on the New Jersey Democratic primary. Andy Kim has handed a third straight loss to the New Jersey First Lady, Tammy Murphy, in the Senate primary. Kim's victory here means he wins the county line, placing him in the same ballot column as other party-endorsed candidates. I have no clue what any of that means. Representative Andy Kim won his third straight county convention on Sunday, beating his top rival, First Lady Tammy Murphy, in his bid for the Democratic nomination for the Senate. But Kim's victory came after the Hunterdon County Convention was briefly thrown into disarray when the county chair, a Murphy ally, proposed changing the endorsement rules. It would have allowed candidates with 30% of the vote to share the so-called county line, the valuable primary ballot positioning that party-endorsed candidates receive. The proposal was met with cursing and screams from the convention delegates and beaten down in a hand vote. But if the rule change went through, it would have meant that Kim would have had to share the line with Murphy in the county, likely putting them on equal footing visually with primary voters. Kim's victory here means he wins the county line, placing him in the same ballot column as other party-endorsed candidates, a unique and hugely important feature of New Jersey's primary system. Each county party in the state differs in how the line is awarded. Some have conventions where local Democrats, like precinct leaders, vote on who they want to support. In the other large Democratic strongholds, the support of a local party boss is enough to get the valuable ballot positioning. In those parts of the state, Murphy enjoys a strong advantage over Kim. Yeah, it sounds about right. Kim won the Hunterdon contest, 120 votes to Murphy's 64, or 62% to 33%. He and Murphy are the front runners in the race to replace indicted Senator Bob Menendez, who has not said whether he is seeking re-election. He may not even need these motherfuckers. Hunterdon County is New Jersey's fourth smallest county by population. Democrats have not held a single county-wide elected office here since 1982. But it's the third consecutive Democratic county convention win for Kim, and unlike the state's first two Democratic conventions in Burlington and Monmouth, both of which Kim won handily, Hunterdon was a unique qualifier. It is the first county that neither Kim nor Murphy have any natural political roots. In that way, Hunterdon may offer a preview of how Democratic voters who don't have a clear connection to Kim or Murphy may react to their candidacies. Kim represents most of Burlington County, where he grew up, and around a third of Monmouth County. Murphy has lived in Monmouth County for well over 2 decades. When asked if Kim had momentum in the race, Murphy said, "No, he does not." He oversees 35% of Monmouth County in Congress. That makes sense. Burlington, that's his county. She declined to address Hunterdon. Kim is the progressive candidate in that race, who I believe we should be rooting for. I'm not exactly sure, because I don't know that much about New Jersey politics. California, the Senate primary could derail 2 prominent Democrats and actually elevate Republican Steve Garvey. I've heard that name before. We've covered Steve Garvey for a reason in the past here on this show. California's Senate race was expected to be a 3-way Democratic prize fight, but the possibility of a record low turnout is elevating the chances of Republican Steve Garvey, a former baseball star, and could derail the congressional careers of 2 prominent progressives. And a year headlined by a likely presidential rematch that many Americans are dreading, California voters have thus far been sluggish in return mail-in ballots that were sent to 22 million homes earlier this month. The relative trickle of ballots has tended to come from older, white, conservative-leaning homeowners, a sweet spot for Republicans such as Garvey, a one-time National League MVP who played for the Dodgers and the Padres. For months, Representative Adam Schiff has had the fundraising and bowling edge in a crowded Democratic field. Garvey's ascent has imperiled the political prospects of Representatives Barbara Lee and Katie Porter, the 2 top finishers in the March 5th contest, regardless of party, advanced to the general election. We're at a real risk of losing, Porter's campaign warned in a fundraising email. Without more financial support, Katie is out of Congress for good. Schiff was a leading voice in the 2 impeachments of former President Donald Trump. Lee is a former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Porter has drawn attention on social media with her sharp questioning of tech CEOs in Capitol Hill hearings. After the death of Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein in September, all 3 entered the race. Porter is leaving her swing district in Southern California as Democrats try to regain control of the House, where Republicans now hold a slim edge. Presidential elections usually drive Democratic turnout in California, but that hasn't been the case this year. With President Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump on track for a second matchup in which both are viewed unfavorably. This is a low-interest, low-turnout kind of election cycle that generally creates an electorate that is older, more conservative, and whiter. While the dynamic could shift by the time primary voting ends, Mitchell said it's possible that Garvey ends up with the highest total as the Democratic candidate splinter votes on the left. I don't see a surge of Democratic turnout coming in the end. There could be a surge of Republican voters in the end. That could be driven by voters influenced by Trump's unsupported claims of election fraud who will vote in person rather than through mail. Schiff told reporters recently that he was concerned for the sake of our democracy about a low turnout. His campaign has sent 3 million texts and made over 50,000 phone calls to potential supporters thus far. That's disappointing. Thanks, California. Hiss at producer Dave next time you see him. What are you Californians doing out there? I mean, I guess losing to a former baseball player is better than losing to fucking Mickey Mouse, right? Michigan voters say they would rather vote for Mickey Mouse than vote for Joe Biden.
Our House Roundtable, former DNC Chair Donna Brazile, former RNC Chair and Trump White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus, White House correspondent Asma Khalid,
you're cool,
and Politico Playbook co-author Rachel Bade. Welcome to all of you.
You're probably a shit lib.
About Trump's comments on Friday night to a room full of black voters.
A room full of black conservatives, and we all know they're, about 5 to 10% of the black population is comprised of black conservatives. But Martha, I have to tell you, this is Black History Month. It's the history that we've all made as Americans, a history that we share, and a future that we all want to see together. No one that I've heard from, or no one that I understand, wants to go back to Donald Trump, go back to the past, go back to the train wreck, the division, and the chaos. So it's the history that we not only share, but the history that we want to make together. And under Donald Trump, we didn't make a lot of black history.
Reince Priebus, did you consider those comments racist? He wasn't on the teleprompter.
I don't know. Look, I remember back in 2016 when President Trump went in to say, hey, what the hell do you have to lose? And I was the one saying, oh, no, we can't say it like that. And, it turned out that he did better in the black community in 2016 than a lot of previous presidents.
Didn't he fire you?
If you look at the polling, he's looking at recent polling about 22% in the black community.
Priebus was his chief of staff for a little while, wasn't he? If I remember correctly. He got fired pretty quickly. I don't remember it being all that long, a few months maybe. 7
battleground states. His record, whether it be the First Step Act, whether it be pardoning Alice Johnson, whether it be unemployment, was pretty good. And I think black voters are very open to Donald Trump, and one of the biggest movers to the Republican Party are black men under 40. And then on the other side, you've got Joe Biden.
When they hear comments like that.
So he was a White House Chief of Staff in 2017. Priebus actually referred to Trump as an idiot, according to Michael Wolff's book. Priebus's service ended on July 31st, so yeah, about 6 months apparently. Early 2017 to July of 2017.
Recently said that you ain't black if you want to support Donald Trump. He referred to a black reporter and asked the black reporter whether the black reporter was a junkie. I mean, the things he said about Barack Obama, which were ridiculous. I mean,
who said about Barack Obama? Donald Trump?
No, Joe Biden.
His nationality?
Joe Biden said, what did he say? I don't even want to repeat what Joe Biden said in 2008.
This is not a conversation about whether or not who has a record, okay? Because we know Donald Trump's record. This is about the future. And what Donald Trump said was racist tropes. And it's insulting and demeaning to basically go to black people and say, oh, don't you like the fact that I have 91 convictions? Don't you want to see this mug shot? Hell no.
Look,
we want freedom and justice and equality like everybody else.
For the record, I don't disagree. These things that are said are not...
No. Wasn't it the Fox News host that said they'll vote for Trump because of sneakers? I gotta find that clip.
They're distractions. I think the part of it is he's trying to be entertaining. I don't disagree. However, what I also see are the facts. And the facts are that 22% of black voters in America...
And of course it was this asshole. Oh shit, it's the dude that always shows up with Laura Ingraham. Where's the clip? Ah, motherfuckers. Hold on. I don't want to see Michael Steele talk about it. I want the fucking clip.
If you want to know what Trump campaign staffers think about you, just watch Fox News, like this weekend when they gushed over Donald Trump's new ploy for money. A limited edition series of gaudy gold $400 Trump sneakers. And like they always do on Fox, somebody said the quiet part out loud on what the big sneaker strategy is really all about.
Even the sneaker thing. I was on social media last night. Very interesting as you see black support eroding from Joe Biden. This is connecting with black America because they love sneakers. They're into sneakers. They love this is a big deal, certainly in the inner city. So when you have Trump roll out his sneaker line, they're like, wait a minute, this is cool. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics.
Wait a minute. That's not Laura Ingraham. That's a different blonde bimbo. That is Tommy Lahren, right? I thought they canned her.
America like what he's saying, like what he stands for, and
yes, I had a friend tell me about how MSNBC was defending the Republican Party, and I was like, well, what do you expect? They're all former Republicans. Probably still Republicans. Like almost all of them.
likes him as a candidate. So that's something your side's gonna have to deal with.
I would just add
they fired the one progressive they had.
Actually, folks in the black community actually liking Donald Trump versus feeling sort of neglected by Joe Biden right now. I mean, we've talked about this on this show. I mean, a lot of folks in the black community feeling like they voted for Joe Biden. They single-handedly helped deliver the nomination to him, and that he hasn't passed enough legislation and support for them. So that could be what we're seeing right now.
Well, Donald Trump's on the verge of getting the highest percentage of black votes in 50 years.
But it hasn't
explain to
why?
me this.
I want to move on to looking at South Carolina in general. No huge surprise, Asma,
no huge surprise.
that he won. But Nikki Haley saying she's staying in the race, and I think people are saying, why?
To what end, right? I mean, look, her campaign suggests that voters, and she has said that voters deserve a choice. My perennial question has been, at what point, though, does she start to have to win a state to show why she's on this ballot? I mean, I see this as a bigger sort of existential question within the Republican Party. We've talked a lot about the fact
there's been motherfuckers that have won far more delegates than she has, which is like none that I know of. and dropped out before this time in the race. It sucks. It sucks that I do a political show and this is 2 presidential election cycles in a row that have just been shit ass. Not real fucking presidential races. No competitive primary. technically there was a competitive primary somewhat on the Democratic side up until COVID hit. Warlord, what am I excusing you for?
That many Democratic voters are disenchanted with Joe Biden, and there's this question about his age and where the electorate might be. On the Republican side, though, I do think there are voters who are very also disenchanted with Donald Trump, and a part of me wonders if Nikki Haley is sticking around long enough to make a viable calculation that she is a potential alternative should anything happen to Donald Trump.
And Rich, I want to go back to you on that. Is she the person that people would turn to if something did happen to Donald Trump?
All right, Mary fuck kill the ABC This Week panel. Mary fuck kill. We got four options. I know who I'm bigging. I'll let you swap Martha McCollin out for somebody. But then I feel like if I let you do that, everybody's going to swap Martha McCollin out for Reince Priebus. Tulsi Gabbard got more delegates than Kamala Harris. Oh my God. I'm sure that would make people's blood boil. Some people. Some shit libs. I don't know these people. I'm not around these people. Most of my fair enough, DJ Dub. Martha McCollin makes it kind of hard to kill somebody if you swap her out with Reince Priebus. And like, here's the thing: is like, I like Martha. I don't think I'd marry her. I'd probably fuck her. God, I'm warped. What the fuck am I even doing here?
The longer she stays in, the more she's going to anger Republican voters who want to unify. So there is that problem. Obviously, she has this sort of race against the clock, right? If she can stay in long enough for something, for Trump to get a conviction or something like that, people could potentially turn to her. But that's probably not going to happen because that's months and months away.
Delegates are the points that are awarded in the primary by like the Democratic Party for winning conventions. Okay, so you got like a primary vote or something. Some states are winner take all, and you'll get all the delegates that state has. Some states are split delegates, or I forget. It's got a name for it. Oh, I said Martha McCollin. Oh, thank you, Richard. You're right, Martha Raddatz. I insulted Martha Raddatz by calling her Martha McCollin. Is that fucking vapid bitch over on Fox News, right? Martha Raddatz is a distinguished journalist with fucking 30 plus years in the field of journalism. A good chunk of that, I think she's been at ABC. Thank you for the correction, because I did not need to insult her like that.
Just to underscore what Asma was saying, Donald Trump clearly has a problem with the base. He talked last night about how Republicans are very united. But 1 in 5 voters told the AP that they would not vote for Donald Trump even if he got the nomination. These are Republican.
I might have to reconsider my thoughts here, because she's got some pretty eyes. She got some pretty eyes.
Voters in South Carolina. How is he going to unite the party? And this is going to be a big problem for him in the general election.
So where do those voters go, Ryan?
Well, I think they're going to go.
There is a big chunk who don't want Donald Trump. So where do they go?
I think a lot of those folks are going to come back to Donald Trump, number one. You see it in polling. Every 4 years this happens. There's big primaries. And in the end, look like 2016. Oh, no one's going to go for Trump. And it all came back for Donald Trump.
He did lose in 2020, though.
He did, true. But I think in reality, this is South Carolina. This is Nikki Haley's home state. There's going to be some real affinity for Nikki Haley there. So if 1 in 5 voters who are Republicans that
what's he smoking?
Haley aren't happy about her losing by 20 points and saying, listen, I'm not going to support Donald Trump, that's not unusual. But the bigger threat, though, for Joe Biden is little watched thing happened this week in Wisconsin was that the Green Party is now going to have a line in Wisconsin. And Jill Stein in 2016 got over 30,000 votes in Wisconsin, and Donald Trump won by 22,000 votes in Wisconsin. So, and if you're looking at
I hate that argument, because there's no guarantee that those 30,000 would have voted Democrat had they not had the option to vote for Jill Stein. They may have sat out the election. They may have wrote in Mickey Mouse, as we're getting ready to talk about. That's what this whole piece was about. That's what I wanted to make fun of. But to say that those votes would have automatically gone to the Democratic candidate is just absurd. Some of those votes could have theoretically gone to Donald Trump had Jill Stein not been in the race. I know that's hard to comprehend who that voter is, but there are legitimately Bernie Sanders voters who went for Trump. It makes no fucking sense based on policy, but I don't think there's some people that don't make their decision based anything on policy. They make it all on personality.
dynamics that are going to be on the ballot, that Green Party line is something for everyone to watch.
And Donna, what does this do when you look forward? Joe Biden. A lot of people don't want Joe Biden who are Democrats.
We've been hearing that for the last couple of months, and you know what? People are still going out to vote, and Joe Biden is doing quite well in raising money. And I'm sure what you'll see over the next couple of weeks is more momentum, and the Democratic coalition comes back together and begin to reach out to independents. Look, we want to go back to Nikki Haley. I don't know her path forward. I mean, she picked up 3 delegates last night. This is a race.
Oh, she does have delegates.
1,215 is what you need on the Republican side. And she's going to have a hard time getting more delegates when the rules begin to change.
Seriously, DJ, do you have an opinion on what makes somebody do that? Other than being somewhat just anti-establishment? Yeah, they respond to the populist message. They see Hillary Clinton as just more of the same, and they want just an outsider. Bernie was kind old man, but when you don't have kind old man option, you'll take mean old man that puts shitty lady in her place.
That says it's winner take all by CD or statewide. Donald Trump went in, maybe not Donald Trump personally, but his team went in to several of these states, including Michigan, and they're stirring the pots. So I don't know how far she will go, but if you have money, keep traveling.
And one of the things we have seen President Biden do is up his attacks on Donald Trump. Do you see that working at all?
Do I see that working? I don't know. I mean, look, they have certainly tried to up their attacks. We saw that just this week, even with the Alabama court decision on IVF, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I don't see that particularly effective yet. What we do see with Donald Trump yesterday in his CPAC comments is him try to pivot towards a general election mode also and make this just a contest with Joe Biden. I do think, though, that Nikki Haley's endurance in this race, to me, is not just about Donald Trump. It does strike me that it speaks to the fact that there is a subset of the American electorate that is dissatisfied with Joe Biden and Donald Trump being their only 2 options. And yes, she's running in a Republican electorate, but it speaks to that dissatisfaction.
And Rachel, let's move on to Michigan. You've got Michigan this week, and progressives have been upset about Joe Biden's support of Israel, which we think there might be some sort of ceasefire and hostage release brewing. That state has the largest percentage of Arab American voters. How concerned should the campaign be about this?
Way more concerned than they currently are. I actually talked to the leader of the Abandoned Biden movement on the ground there. He's a Palestinian American, knows folks who have had family members who have died during the bombardments in Gaza. And he was a Biden voter. Just a few months ago, he had a sign, a Biden-Harris sign in his yard. Now he says he would sooner vote for, what did he say? Sooner vote for Mickey Mouse than Joe Biden, even if it means voting for Donald Trump. So I think that if you look at the numbers, one more thing, Martha, Joe Biden won by 150,000 votes in Michigan. There are 200,000 Muslim or Arab American voters in Michigan. If he alienates all of them, Michigan is gone for him.
And small numbers, really, overall. We just have a few seconds here, but really could have a profound
critical impact. And to that point, I spoke with a number of people who sat in meetings either with Biden campaign officials or with Biden officials, policymakers, who are so dissatisfied, who came out of those meetings still not convinced that they will vote for Joe Biden.
Something we'll all watch this week. Michigan coming up. Thanks to all of you.
Shut up, George. Joe Biden hemorrhaging support because of the continued funding of the Israeli genocide. An individual wearing fatigues. I earlier said it was in front of the White House. It was in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Once again, content warning. In an act of protest, what is called a self-immolation. The individual wearing fatigues introduces himself as an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force and will no longer be complicit in genocide. After ignition, he repeatedly yells, "Free Palestine." For a full minute, police see him say, "May I help you, sir?" as he's on fire, and scream at him to get on the ground but do not otherwise engage. One cop appears with a gun drawn on the man after he collapses, still consumed by flames. One cop, white shirt, maybe security, begins spraying him with a fire extinguisher. The cop with a gun drawn remains stationary. White shirt yells, "I don't need guns, I need fire extinguishers." More cops arrive, as do EMTs. 3 fire extinguishers are used. It's unclear if the man is still alive. The white shirt who responded first came across the device used to film the incident and made the video stop. There is footage. It does exist on the internet. I am going to stop short of playing it. I am about to engage in extreme act of protest, he says calmly. But compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their colonizers, it's not extreme at all. This is what our ruling class has decided will be normal. He walks to the driveway of the Israeli embassy, places his phone down to film, goes up the driveway, dumps liquid from a metal water bottle over his head, tosses the bottle, places his uniform hat on his head. He pulls out a lighter from his pocket and struggles to light it. It's at this point, off screen, security police are heard saying, "Can I help you?" The person who self-immolated apparently emailed reporters this morning stating, "Today I'm planning to engage in an extreme act of protest against the genocide of the Palestinian people." Stated that it would be live streamed on Twitch. By the way, I'm reading from Talia Jane. She's an independent reporter, does a fantastic job covering protests. Her field of expertise, also like extremist movements, Proud Boy protests and shit. Per DC Fire and EMS, he's hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, and responding cops were actually Secret Service. There you see the DC Fire saying at around 1 p.m. DC Fire responded to a call for it. She's also not bad to look at. I might have a crush on many badass leftists out there. DC Fire and EMS responded to a call for a person on fire outside the Israeli embassy. Arrived to find fire extinguished by members of the Secret Service. One adult male transported critical life-threatening injuries to an area hospital. A LinkedIn belonging to a person with the same name shows 3 years in USAF and attending university for an undergrad in software engineering. As info has not been verified, I'm not linking or sharing the name. The still above from a live broadcast on Twitch channel, being no other videos, no subscribers, seems to have been created for this video only. The video begins with him introducing himself and picking up the device he's filming on. Which I believe is likely a phone due to video filmed vertically. He is alone and walks past the embassy of Ghana, filming himself speaking before stopping at the driveway later reported to be the Israeli embassy. He sets the device on the ground on the end of the driveway and walks up toward the gate. The device stays upright, suggesting some kind of mini tripod or a stabilizer affixed to it. The video ends with a responding white shirt picking up the device, asking, "What is this? Who is this?" Twitch nuked the channel. That's what we have. I did verify this has been reported by numerous outlets, but I knew the information was solid because I followed Talia for years. I guess good on you, sir. I don't know. Like, I admire your fucking courage. Holy shit. Because I could totally never do that. But I don't know that your death accomplishes anything. And for this to be such an extreme protest as an extreme form of protest, it's gonna go under the radar. Most people in the United States aren't even gonna know this fucking happened. So I don't know. In a strictly looking at it from a utilitarian sense of how much this accomplishes, I don't know that your passion and efforts wouldn't have been better served. Nathan, good evening, my friend. But boy, do I admire. It just happened a couple hours ago. That's why I was reading from a Twitter, because I didn't even have a local news hit I could give you guys. The DC police reported at 1 o'clock that it had happened. So possibly around noon or a little after. But I mean, that kind of passion and dedication. Yeah. This isn't even the first immolation we've covered on this show. And honestly, I didn't even remember it until we had another one pop up. Yep, Richard, the Americans are largely apathetic. The government certainly doesn't give a fuck. We could have used you on the front lines of a lot of different efforts, because with that passion and dedication. Because I feel you, brother. His contribution to the cause for 20 years to come outweighs, him dying today in that kind of fashion for that little fanfare. It's a weird way to put it. It's a morbid way of looking at it. I don't do this very often, but goddamn, I salute you, sir. Even if I don't agree with the overall success of your efforts. God damn. Because, like, the person that should be set on fire, can I say that? Can I say that? The person who should be set on fire in all this Actually went on CBS this morning and gave a whole interview. And fuck this motherfucker. Fuck you.
And the war between Israel and Hamas. Joining us from...
It's not a fucking war. You can't have a war when one side doesn't have a fucking army. This is a genocide of a people.
Tel Aviv is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Welcome back to Face the Nation, sir.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Mr. Prime Minister, the U.S. is working on a hostage deal that President Biden has said would bring with it at least 6 weeks of calm. The intelligence chiefs met on Friday. Are we close to a deal?
Well, I'm not sure the exact duration, but I can tell you that we're all working on it. We want it. I want it. Because we want to liberate the remaining hostages. We've already brought half of them back. And I appreciate the effort, the combined effort of Israel, the United States, to bring back the remaining hostages. I can't tell you if we'll have it, but if Hamas goes down from its delusional claims and goes down, can bring them down to earth, then we'll have the progress that we all want.
What specifically is holding up the deal at this point? Reportedly, this would have 30 to 40 hostages, women, elderly, wounded, released in exchange for a few hundred Palestinian prisoners being released.
Hamas started out.
Now, remember, this motherfucker's smart. Benjamin Netanyahu is not a dumb motherfucker. He's coming onto an American show and trying to act magnanimous towards the Palestinian people. Oh, we're negotiating a ceasefire. This is a PR stunt. Exactly. I don't trust him to actually follow through on what he's saying.
Out with just crazy demands, and it's too soon to say if they've abandoned them. But if they do abandon them and get into what you call the ballpark, they're not even in the city. They're in another planet. But if they come down to a reasonable situation, then yes, we'll have a hostage. I hope so.
There are at least 6 U.S. citizens among those being held by Hamas. For you, is the return of living hostages necessary and essential for you to declare victory in this war?
I've set 3 war goals. The first is to release the hostages. The second is to destroy Hamas. And the third is to ensure that Gaza does not pose a threat to Israel in the future. And obviously, the three are intertwined. They're achieved basically by our very effective and often heroic military operation.
To be fair, DJ Dub, he wouldn't come on if she didn't. I will throw that out there. I was taking her to task for use of the word war, but he wouldn't fucking come on if she didn't say that. I would have rather her said conflict. But rightfully, she should be like, "Hey, BB, why you genociding people?" I could make an argument for there's journalistic value to interviewing him. I'm not saying that. That's why I don't work in the news business anymore. But I can see trying to take a neutral stance with somebody trying to interview them. Not that I'm condoning it. I'm calling him a fucking war criminal and a genocidal maniac and a motherfucking piece of shit.
And also by tough negotiations. We're combining the two, and I hope it yields a result. But understand that
Exactly, Richard. That's why she's on Face the Nation and I'm on YouTube. I don't even get to be on Twitch. I got to be on Kick.
We can't leave Hamas in place. We can't leave a quarter of Hamas battalions in Rafah and say, well, that's fine.
On the issue of the hostages, as you know, time is of the essence here. So if this deal happens and there are 6 weeks of calm that go with it, does that provide an opening to end this war, or will you still go into southern Gaza, into Rafah, regardless?
Yeah, well, victory is within reach, and you can't have victory until you eliminate Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization that... once we begin the Rafah operation, the intense phase of the fighting is weeks away from completion. Not months, weeks away from completion. And that is, we've already destroyed 18 out of the 24 Hamas terrorist battalions. So we have and 4 of them are concentrated in Rafah. We can't leave the last Hamas stronghold without taking care of it. Obviously, we have to do it. But understand, too, that I've asked the Army to submit to me a double plan. First, to evacuate, to enable the evacuation.
A double plan?
Of Palestinian civilians in Gaza. And obviously, second, to destroy the remaining Hamas battalions. That gets us a real distance towards the completion of our victory. And that we're not going to give it up. If we have a deal, it'll be delayed somewhat, but it'll happen. If we don't have a deal, we'll do it anyway. It has to be done because total victory is our goal, and total victory is within reach, not months away, weeks away, once we begin the operation.
Well, the White House says they need
the eradication of the Palestinian people.
Plan to protect civilians and the 1.4 million people who are sheltering in southern Gaza. This morning, the White House says they still have not seen such a plan, and no major military operation should proceed without it. Have you approved the plans that you said you've asked for?
Actually, Margaret, I'm going from here to a meeting with the General Staff where they're going to show me this dual plan.
Okay.
A plan to evacuate and a plan to dismantle those remaining battalions. So yes, by the way, we agree on this. I mean, we don't have to be prodded. We're on the same page with the U.S. on this because that's how we do it. The reason you have that population in Rafah is because we actually cleared them away from the other places, the zones, combat zones that we had. That's why they're there. So now there's room for them to go north of Rafah to the places that we've already finished fighting in.
To where? To where? You destroyed all of the housing. You destroyed all of the infrastructure. To where are they going to go, BB?
That's the plan,
yes.
To move 1.4 million people into
rubble
Gaza. Can you guarantee that the IDF will not
I didn't say northern Gaza. I said
will not. Sorry,
I said
go
north
ahead.
of Rafah.
Okay.
I said north of Rafah. In the northern part of the Gaza Strip, we still have fighting going on.
Right.
But we are, that is important. It's important to understand, moving civilians out of an area that is going to be a combat zone is not a bad thing.
Yes, this is a classic Pinzer move.
Is going to do.
Understood, but the IDF, can you guarantee that they won't push Palestinians out of Gaza and into Egypt? As you know, Egyptian officials have said if you do that, you are putting at risk 46 years of peace.
Look, I think that the Egyptians know very well that that's not our purpose, and that won't be the result, and we're coordinating. We're talking to the Egyptians all the time, so that's not, I don't think that's an issue. The peace between Israel and Egypt to serve the interest of both countries and will continue to serve the interest of both countries. I don't think it's in any danger.
You said that victory is within reach, but U.S. intel says the IDF has only destroyed 30% of Hamas leadership, and that the amount of tunnels that Hamas uses have really only been tiny in terms of what has been destroyed by the IDF. There is growing distrust of you personally, sir. You know this, in the U.S. Congress and within the Biden White House. When your closest ally is telling you things like this and telling you that you need to reconsider a strategy, isn't it worth considering?
Of course, recruitment for Hamas would be up. Like, you come in and you kill all these children's parents. What are they gonna do? They're pissed off. They've got no work. They've got no way to get educated. All they're gonna do is get radicalized. Of course it's gonna create more terrorists. Of course. I'm actually amazed. She's starting to get a little rough with her questioning here. I like this. Let's see where this goes.
Distrust of you personally, sir. You know this, in the U.S. Congress and within the Biden White House. When your closest ally is telling you things like this and telling you that you need to reconsider a strategy, isn't it worth considering?
Look, I think that the U.S. agrees with us on the goal of destroying Hamas.
Yes.
And on the goal of releasing the hostages. The decisions of how to do that are left with us and with me and the elected cabinet of Israel. And we're doing that. A lot of things that we were told by the best of friends initially turned out not to be true. They said you can't enter the ground war without having enormous complications. They said you cannot fight, you can't enter Gaza City, you can't go into the tunnels. It'll be a terrible bloodbath. All of that turned out to be not true. Our soldiers are in the tunnel net.
What? All of that was absolutely true. It has been a bloodbath. You have leveled Gaza. You fucking lying sack of shit.
We don't have to take apart hundreds of kilometers of tunnels. We are taking apart the missile production factories that are underground, the command and control headquarters, the computers that are there, the money that is there,
destroying hospitals,
the ammos that
killing journalists,
methodically. So we're doing the war,
imprisoning teachers,
substitute for the Israeli military command, and we're doing it very responsibly. The John Spencer, who's the head of urban warfare at West Point, says that no other army has gone to the lengths that Israel's army has gone to clear civilians out of harm's way, even though Hamas is doing everything to keep them in harm's way.
Oh, sure, but the former head of Central
American
Command was on this program just a few weeks ago.
Bullshit.
Basically, you have not articulated any specific end game here. So, but putting that aside, I want to come back to a few different things you
wait
said.
a minute, Margaret, hold on. You lob these grenades at me and you keep on moving. Well, first of all, you say there's no confidence in me. Well, the Israeli public has confidence in me. Last week,
there were massive
the
protests throughout Israel yesterday.
Of course we have protests. We have protests. Israel is a democracy. We've had protests for 30 years. But the Israeli people are united as never before. Last week, they voted 99-9 in the Knesset for my proposal that says that the way that we have to do two things. We have to win the war, have total victory, but also not have an international dictate of a Palestinian state on it shoved down our throats that would endanger Israel. The people are overwhelmingly united on this. When is the last time we had 99 votes in the Knesset? I'll tell you, 30 years ago. So the people are united. The policy is right. The people support it. And I intend to take it.
That's true. The Israeli people do indeed support the continued genocide of the Palestinian people, which is pretty fucked up.
Completion, because that's what we have. We can't compromise with total victory, because I'll tell you, we can't win the peace if we don't win the war, and we will win this war.
One of the members of the Knesset, the former Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid, said he asked the Americans about what you just said about a unilateral declaration of recognition of Palestinian state, and he said, you invented a threat that doesn't exist. There is not one official in the world that suggested unilateral recognition of the Palestinians. So,
I don't know why.
The Foreign Secretary of Britain just spoke about it. There have been many.
Well, this is the U.S.
I hope that's true.
Okay.
We've heard a lot of briefings coming from the U.S. To that effect. So I hope it's true. And if it's true, then
I don't recognize Israel. How about that shit?
The decision made by the government, by the people of Israel through their elected representatives. And by the way, if people try to foist it on us, it would be a terrible mistake, because it would be seen as a reward for terror after the most atrocious attack committed against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. So people of Israel are not going to buy it. And if you want peace, you shouldn't go that route.
As I understand it, the war against the Palestinians, the war against the Palestinians, quote unquote, is very popular with the Israeli people. And that they actually support Benjamin Netanyahu tentatively until the end of the war. And then they want him ousted. Fucking wild.
Peace will be achieved through direct negotiations between the parties down the line. I don't think the Palestinians are ready for it, but when they are, that's the way it'll be achieved, not by international fiat.
I want to come back to something you said where you were raising questions about U.S. intelligence and advice to you from the Biden administration, where you said it was wrong. You also said there was no bloodbath.
I didn't say it was wrong. I said.
Yeah, there was a bloodbath.
Gave us advice that turned out to be that we performed a lot better than they anticipated. And by the way, we performed a lot better than we anticipated.
Well, on the no bloodbath, Doctors Without Borders went to the UN this week and said the civilian toll in Gaza is so high, they came up with a new term, wounded child, no surviving family. Save the Children says there are over 1,000 children who have lost a limb over these past days since the beginning of the October 7th war. What Hamas has done is horrific, but President Biden has said your actions, sir, are over the top. Aren't you concerned
That's an understatement.
that it is creating more terrorists than it is killing?
I think that any civilian casualty is a tragedy, and I don't say that half-heartedly. I lost a brother in war. I myself was wounded while releasing hostages from a hijacked plane. I've lost friends in battle. I know what it means to lose friends and what it means to lose family members. So we don't have an argument there. But this war has been forced upon us by a cynical enemy that not only targets our civilians, has raped, beheaded, burnt babies alive, killed children in front of their parents in front of their children. This enemy not only targets civilians, but hides behind civilians, Palestinian civilians. So they're committing a double war crime. I have to come back and say that in terms of the way this battle is fought, there is no parallel to the difficulty that we face. And John Spencer, the head of urban warfare at West Point, says that no other army has faced such a task. He gives one comparison.
Yeah, that's not the
He gives
question I
Mosul as
asked,
a
though.
comparison. Well, it is, but that's the answer. You can't say, oh, you give immunity to the terrorists because they're hiding among civilians and forcing civilians not to leave. So what do? You say, okay, we'll give you immunity. Hamas survives. Will live to fight another, to commit another massacre and another massacre. What would America do?
Yeah.
What would America do, Margaret, if you...
I mean, he's right to play that card. Because, like, the United States ain't got no fucking room to talk.
face the equivalent of 20 9/11s, 50,000 Americans slaughtered in one day, 10,000 Americans, including mothers and children, held hostage, would you not be doing what Israel is doing? You'd be doing a hell of a lot more. And all Americans that I talk to, nearly all say that. So Israel has gone to extraordinary lengths, calling up people, civilians, Palestinians in Gaza, telling them, leave your home, sending pamphlets. We have done that effort. Hamas tries to keep them at gunpoint. We'll clear them out of harm's way, we'll complete the job and achieve total victory, which is necessary to give a secure future for Israel, a better future for Gaza, a better future for the Middle East, and a setback for the Iran terror axis. That's in all our interest. It's in America's interest, too.
Yeah, he said like 50,000 people, 59/11s or whatever the fuck he said, and like I didn't get that. Like what? Was he doing some kind of like a per capita thing or something? But I was talking about popular opinion among Israelis. And this is wild. This is a New York Times interview with a West Bank settler. Proudly admits that she is a fascist.
נכון, אני לא יכולה לומר, אני באמת יכולה לומר לעצמי שיש בי משהו פשיסטי.
There is something fascist about me.
אני לא...
I'm not hiding it. I don't believe there's any other way.
שיש דרך אחרת, באמת.
Really?
Your uncensored lack of political correctness definitely shocked me.
נכון, אני לא יכולה לומר, אני באמת יכולה...
Shocking!
שיש בי משהו פשיסטי.
Shocking. I can admit that there is something fascist about me. There is no other way. What? We live in wild times. A really short piece. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna give more time to this story. It feels like it's more important than this. We'll watch the 38 seconds.
We're following a developing story as a spokesperson for Alexei Navalny says the Russian opposition leader's body has returned to his mother. It comes about a week after the 47-year-old died in a Russian Arctic prison colony. It's unclear when a funeral will take place or if Russian authorities will allow the service. They have already detained at least 400 people across 39 cities for laying flowers at makeshift memorials honoring Navalny. President Joe Biden met with Navalny's widow and daughter Thursday and has since announced sanctions against Russia and Vladimir Putin, who Biden blames for Navalny.
Well, that's a pretty good 38 seconds, though. He jammed a lot of information into that 38 seconds.
Story this hour, the spokeswoman of the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has said his body has been given to his mother just over a week after he died in jail. Well, let's cross to the newsroom where Danny Eberhard, BBC World Service Europe regional editor, is for us.
What up, Danny?
What has the spokesperson been saying?
Well, this is a tweet by Kira Yarmish. She said that the body was handed over. Alexei Navalny's mother has been in the Arctic near the prison camp where he died. He died Friday last week. And she's been
Arctic prison camp.
She and Mr. Navalny's allies have been saying she's being blackmailed, put under pressure to allow the Russian authorities to bury his body in secret, with the threat being that if they didn't allow that, with no mourners present, then he would be in fact buried at the prison camp itself. So it's a big development. It's not clear yet for when a funeral for Alexei Navalny will take place. Ms. Yarmish she thanked people for putting pressure on the Russian authorities, but she said it's not clear whether the authorities, what type of funeral they'll allow, whether it will be the sort of one that the family and Alexei Navalny himself want and deserve.
And also today, Mr. Navalny's wife released a video statement as well.
Yeah, there was an absolutely excoriating attack, a 6-minute attack directed personally towards Vladimir Putin. Alexei Navalny's wife, Yulia Navalny, she accused him again of having murdered Alexei Navalny in jail. That's something that the Kremlin, of course, denies. But she also took issue at the way that she said they'd been torturing him in life, but also in death, and torturing his mother too about his body. And she said basically that the way they would treat, that Mr. Putin personally was treating Mr. Navalny's body was actually satanic. She criticized him for his professed Orthodox Christian faith. That's something that Mr. Putin himself makes big public play of. And so above photos and images of President Putin gazing at Russian icons, kissing saints' relics, and even going swimming in an ice bath for Epiphany in the shape of a cross, she said basically his religion was that he was not showing any type of Christian values in the way he was treating her husband's body. So it was
I don't know.
Very personal.
I've read the Bible.
Faith really matters in Russia. There's a large percentage of the population which are very, they adhere to the Christian Orthodox faith. The church itself is highly controlled by the state, but it's a powerful medium, and she contrasted the way President Putin was behaving with her own husband's Christian values, which she said meant a lot to him.
I don't know why he went back. He was out of the country there for a little while. And they poisoned him on a plane. I'm probably fucking this up because I'm a stoner. I've got a bad memory. Like, they poisoned him on a plane when he was, like, flying over Russia or some shit. Or when he was flying over Belize or Hungary. God, fuck it, I'll have to look that shit up. How that all went down. But, like, he was out of the country at some point in time, like, before he went back and got locked up almost immediately. And it's kind of like the dude with the self-immolation. I don't know what good you are. Dead. Locked up in prison for the last 7 or 8 years, whatever the fuck it's been. Did you hear that we had another balloon? Don't think this one was Chinese or Russian. They treated him in Germany. I don't know why he went back at that point in time, because it was clear they were going to kill him. I want to say like it was over Belize or over Hungary or something. So they're saying he died of a blood clot. Blood clot. So, Pentagon says that the new high-altitude balloon intercepted over the U.S. likely a hobby craft. 1 year after the Chinese controversy, NORAD said it monitored the likely hobby balloon via ground radars until it left U.S. airspace. I apparently got to join Fox News for this content, and I will not be doing that.
Got to get to some breaking news now in from our Pentagon team because the military is apparently monitoring an unidentified balloon flying over the USA out west, according to 2 U.S. officials and a defense official. We're learning tonight that NORAD has sent up an aircraft to check it out after this balloon was seen over Utah today. They say it doesn't appear to be a national security threat, but I want to bring in Courtney Kuby, who is joining us now. So, Court, whenever anybody thinks of a balloon flying over the U.S., people think of that China balloon that you so notably reported on last year. What do we know? What do we not know?
Yeah, and Hallie, this is almost exactly a year after that China balloon flew over the United States. It was late January, early February when that one happened. Now, this seems to be a pretty different situation.
Wait, weren't there more than one balloon?
That's what we're showing here, right? This is not, yes. I want to just be clear with our viewers. This is not the balloon. This is not the Today balloon.
This is not the Utah balloon.
And if you look at the balloon that we were just showing there, though, again, that was the China spy balloon that we've reported on extensively over the course of the last year. What we're learning about the one today is, frankly, it's an unidentified balloon. The U.S. officials do not know who it belongs to or its point of origin. But as you mentioned, NORAD scrambled some fighter jets earlier today after it was spotted over Utah. It was flying about 43,000 to 45,000 feet, so they sent those jets up there to check it out and see if it was potentially a threat. Now, they determined, or they've assessed, it is not a national security threat. It's not maneuverable, so it doesn't have a rudder like the China spy balloon that we've all been talking about. And it does not pose a threat to civilian or military aviation, according to these officials. But the U.S. is still going to keep monitoring it. So the big question continues to be, who owns this balloon? What's it doing up there? You'll remember after the China spy balloon, the FAA imposed some rules saying, hey, if you're going to put these balloons up there for weather or whatever, or experimentation, you got to register them and let us know. It seems that this one was not registered.
Is it fair to say, Court, or maybe we don't know this yet, that because it is not a national security threat, or does not appear to be one at this point, the U.S. is down? Like, in other words, they're going to just kind of watch it and see what happens?
This hit was a couple of days ago. The Fox News piece that I read from that said it was a craft balloon, that was earlier today. So that's my bad for showing you old video. Yeah, that was 2 days ago. So they might not have known that it wasn't a spy balloon at the time. In their defense, I'm cutting this. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna cut that too. Fuck that shit. Why am I cutting shit? Because we got a hell of a lot more shit to do. We're gonna get to the fun part of the show here in a little bit, and I've still got the worst part to go. Let's do a little economic news. Moguls cash in on record high market. This is something I've been keeping an eye on because it's kind of worrying. I guess it's worrying to us plebes when the market is at record highs. That's a great time to convert paper wealth to cash dollars. Just ask JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, or Amazon's Jeff Bezos, all of whom have been selling a lot of stock of late. A lot of people have been selling off, which might be an indicator of a coming recession or market collapse. Between them, the three moguls have sold $9.3 billion in stock in the last month. Dimon sold $150 million of JP Morgan shares on February 22nd. Zuckerberg sold 661 million of Meta shares between January 31st and February 21st. Bezos sold 8.5 billion of Amazon shares between February 9th and February 20th. Even these astonishing numbers pale in comparison to the 39.5 trillion of Tesla shares that Elon Musk sold between November of 2021 and December of 2022. But that was because he was buying Twitter. I'm having like a muscle spasm or something. I might need to stand up. Could be a heart attack. It is the left side of my arm. Probably not a heart attack though. Probably just gas. Multiple times in my life, I've thought I was having a heart attack and it ended up just being gas. I'd fart a few times and it'd go away. But it really hurts right now. When companies are growing fast or still establishing themselves, the stock market tends to frown on substantial share sales from CEOs. It's seen as a sign of a lack of faith in the stock. Now that these companies are firmly established as some of the most valuable corporations on the planet, however, Wall Street cares less about such personal signals. After all, at some point, every family will need to diversify its wealth. For a CEO, the best time to sell your stock is when it's high and rising. That, broadly, is where the market is right now. So it may not be an indication of anything other than these motherfuckers just want to make some fucking money. Because all the other economic indicators, and I do believe it is indeed, I do believe it is indeed gas. God damn. Tech stocks are indeed grossly overvalued. They have been for a very long time. The entire tech industry has been overvalued. It's one of the reasons why I'm seeing like all the tech layoffs aren't really, to me, a sign of the economy. It's a sign of the fact that they don't have free money flowing to them anymore because they've been overvalued. They need to downsize. The real cost of working from home. Texas husband eavesdropped. I've just been busy. I'm sorry, Snicks. And like I think one night I fell asleep. I just didn't want to do the show. I miss you guys. A Texas husband eavesdropped on a high-flying oil executive wife's business calls and netted $1.76 million in insider trades. Tyler London made $1.76 million in illegal profits after listening into his BP executive wife's phone calls and has been charged with insider trading. When Loudon's wife, Emily Krause, discovered his betrayal, she informed her bosses at BP, who found out she had not acted improperly but fired her anyway. Loudon, whose wife later filed for divorce, accepted the charges and has agreed to give up the money he made as well as pay a fine. So, do you guys think they made up the whole he listened in on her calls and she didn't know deal? Like he was going to take the fall for her or some shit? Tyler London overheard his wife, Emily Krause, a mergers and acquisitions manager at BP, conducting internal discussions about the oil conglomerate's planned takeover of Travel Centers of America while she was working from home. Loudon, who was an energy engineer, proceeded to purchase 46,450 shares of Travel Center stock without his wife's knowledge before the deal was made public in February of last year. When BP announced it was buying Travel Centers of America at a 74% premium. London immediately sold all of his shares. That's your dummy. That's the problem. You sold all your shares. Fucking idiot. Could be a domestic dispute. Krause discovered his betrayal. She informed her bosses at BP, who found she had not acted improperly but fired her anyway, and she later filed for divorce. What kind of face is that? She looks evil. I'm standing behind it. Well, she works for BP. This woman's fucking evil. Her little paper thin lips. Those fucking eyes. We allege that Mr. London took advantage of his remote working conditions and his wife's trust to profit from information he knew was confidential. This is according to the SEC in their criminal complaint. Loudon said he bought the stock, even liquidating his retirement accounts, because he wanted to make enough money so that she did not have to work long hours anymore. Oh, absolute mergers and acquisitions, absolutely evil. So, good on them. I'm happy with how that worked out. Speaking of people who are absolutely fucking evil, Chaya Ratchik was confronted by reporter Taylor Lorenz. I don't know how this happened. Read the backstory here. In April of 2022, the Washington Post's Taylor Lorenz revealed the identity of the woman behind Libs of TikTok, an account seemingly dedicated to perpetuating a virulent anti-LGBTQ plus and far-right content. This week, Lorenz sat down with Chaya Ratchik, the former real estate agent turned social media influencer. The pair discussed a wide range of topics, including the death of Nex Benedict, Ratchik described as very tragic, before she added that she doesn't believe in gender-affirming care for non-binary people like that teen. The nearly hour-long interview is meandering and confusing throughout, though through no fault of Lorenz's. Ratchik, who makes a living creating and pushing her own content, repeatedly failed to put together coherent thoughts or to even answer a question. We're going to watch a few different clips from this interview. If you want to watch the whole thing, this is the entire interview. It's about an hour long. I'm going to hit you guys with it in the chat. I think producer Dave watched it last night on Operation Catterday, but we're going to watch a couple of the more infamous clips.
If you eradicate transgenderism, which I believe you suggested in a post today.
No, I never suggested that.
Oh, okay. You reposted a post that was advocating for that. What would happen to the people that have already medically, socially, completely transitioned and are leading happy lives? What would happen to them? I mean, what's your plan for that? If transgenderism doesn't exist, which it seems like that's what you believe, what happens to all the people living happy lives as trans people?
Well, first of all, the whole trans it's based on a lie. You can't change your gender.
Okay, but
so they could go live their life. I mean, I can't tell someone what to do in their house.
Sounds like you do want to tell people what to do in their house.
I never said that.
So you're totally okay with people being trans, just not as long as they're in public?
No, I never said that. They could. The whole thing is based off of a lie, and I think that this lie cannot be mainstream in our society. It's just, it's a lie.
And what harm is it causing, do you believe?
I like the truth. I like truth.
Do you?
Saying what's the harm of people expressing their gender identity differently than you believe it to be? What harm are they causing?
Like I said, we are a nation.
Does anyone know who's on her shirt? What is that shirt? What are they, like, is she doing some sort of protest? Is this some sort of an event? Why are they just outside on a street somewhere? I'm so confused.
Truth, and I seek the truth.
But I'm asking about the harm. What's the harm? You might believe it to be false, but what's
The harm is that there's a lie that is very mainstream and is being embedded into every institution.
I guess I'm wondering what the material harm is. Aside from it's maybe something that you disagree with, as in your version of the truth is different than their version of the truth. What is the material harm of them living their life as a woman or man or gender that you don't agree?
Not anything that's wrong is there a material harm necessarily.
So there's no harm.
I didn't say that.
That's Taylor on her shirt. She wore a shirt of Taylor Lorenz. He apparently spouted some great replacement bullshit as well. Media matters for this.
Let's just get back to the great replacement stuff, because I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that whole ideology?
I mean, how many? There were times that there were some months over the past 3 years that there were more illegals coming into our border than children being born in the U.S. Does that not look like they're trying to replace us?
I guess sort of imagine America as a melting pot. Isn't that sort of what America was founded on?
No, but they're actually bringing in more people than are actually being born.
So I guess it sounds like you sort of do ascribe to this theory of the Great Replacement. How does that make you feel?
I just look at the facts and the numbers.
Well, so, I mean,
Just the facts, ma'am.
Right? A lot of Jewish people fled, Europe, came over here also as immigrants. And there's a lot of criticism towards
Socks, buddy.
movements, in those far-right movements. So I'm just wondering, as a Jewish woman, sort of how you feel about that and your role in cultivating this fan base that might think of you as a minority, an outsider.
Not all cultures are equal.
Whoa.
So,
what does that mean?
Educational materials and books, library books and things, especially.
They're importing people who want to destroy America, and who come here and do not stand for what America stands for. So, and I think, and we see it, there's time after time after time after time. They come in, they're destroying our cities, they bring crime with them, and they are bringing them in to replace us.
Crime is at historic lows.
People from various countries, they're all different.
And different being bad, right? A city council member in Oklahoma. Let me hit the... We're getting to the hardest story to talk about tonight. I think this was Oklahoma. Yeah, it's Oklahoma. I've been dreading this. Took her jibs. That's exactly what she's doing. It's hard to make fun of it though, because there's real world consequences to the hate that she spreads. This is the city councilman in Oklahoma putting the blame squarely where it belongs on Chaya Reichik for the death of Next Benedict.
You and your rhetoric and your inability to do anything as a board here are partially responsible for emboldening bullies to jump a girl in the bathroom. 3 older girls don't just jump a 16-year-old in the bathroom for no apparent reason, especially when they're of the alphabet community, who you personally have attacked ever since you ran for office. And you brought in the chief attacker of this, Chaya Rychak. Okay? It's on you. You remember when I said the blood's on you guys and everything?
Yep.
I think what you're looking at now is a federal lawsuit for each one of you personally, and I hope it happens because it'll bankrupt you. And I hope it happens for you, Ryan, because you're money-oriented, and I hope it bankrupts you as well. There is legal culpability here. No Title IX was followed. Teacher didn't turn it in. Principal didn't turn it in. Is it mandatory reporting? Is that what it's called? Mandatory? Give me a nod. If you're on the school board, you should know. Is it mandatory reporting for somebody to report a hate crime? Is it mandatory? Did I not tell you this was going to happen? Yet here I am again, and I'm sure when I leave, your Chaya Rychak will tweet my stuff out again, and I'll get more death threats. That's who you brought into the room. You emboldened these 3 girls yourself. Chaya Rychak emboldened these 3 girls by being on the library board. It's already difficult to be in high school. It's very difficult to be different. But when somebody's attacked for being different, this isn't even about the death part, because that's coming next. And we'll see who gets charged and how many families lose their children to prison.
God damn. That is Sean Cummings cooks a lot of food, sometimes with THC and CBD. Married to Kathy. He's a city councilman in the town where next Benedict was beaten to death. There was a candlelight vigil held for them.
Across the nation to right here in Green Country are gathering to honor the life of next Benedict. 2 News Oklahoma's Alexander Blake went to tonight's vigil in Tahlequah, where this community is calling for a world where the LGBTQ plus community can live without fear.
We just want to live. We just want to exist and have a life of our own and just be.
Lily Reinhart is one of dozens attending Tahlequah's vigil for next Benedict. As a member of the LGBTQ community, she says she felt called to show solidarity.
It's very scary to just be in the current social environment that we have.
Also attending the vigil is Jeremy Shepard. He says being an openly gay man in Oklahoma is tough.
It's not easy, but you have to live your life. You can't hide. That's what they want. People want you to hide.
No member of the community had to hide at Saturday's vigil, hosted by equality group Tahlequality. Its president, Sanj Cooper, is expecting a crowd of well over 100.
Could be more than that. Honestly, we don't know what to expect, but, we're hoping for a good turnout.
Cooper says they've felt the support from near and far.
We've had support from Michigan, from Massachusetts, even as far out as Europe.
People took turns expressing their thoughts and paying their respects to Nex, with candles in hand. The community was asked to bring their own candles and flags, but Tahlequality also provided these candles to anyone who wanted one. Keeping the community safe were Tahlequah Police and Cherokee Nation Marshal Service. Also there were people not part of the LGBTQ community, like Blaine Caldwell.
It's important to be here because we're all human beings.
Cooper dreams of a world where all agree with Caldwell.
Sometimes there's a time where you sit back and watch and there's a time for action. It's the time for action.
From Tahlequah, Alexander Blake, 2 News Oklahoma.
Thank you so much, Alexander. Now, Cherokee Nation Marshal Service says it will also be at tomorrow's vigil in Owasso.
We had the content warning for this next section because this is going to be the hardest part to watch. They released body cam footage of the cops questioning Nex after the attack as they were in the hospital. Socks, get down, buddy. Socks. So, content warning, fuckers. Video shows non-binary teen Next Benedict reflecting on fight before their death. The Oklahoma police released the new body cam footage, though the cause of death remains unclear. The death of Next Benedict, a non-binary teenager in Oklahoma after a fight in a school bathroom earlier this month, has led to an outpouring of grief and anger among the LGBTQ community and fresh attention to the climate of hostility faced by trans students in the state and beyond. Much remains unclear about the specifics of what happened to Next. Seemed like they were beaten to death. He was reported dead on February 8th. On Friday, the Owasso Police Department posted body cam footage of Next speaking to an officer in a hospital after the attack.
So,
I'm glad you're here.
So what happened today?
I got jumped.
Tell me about it. What happened?
They've been antagonizing, you know the people that I got caught with?
You mean from the other day of the vaping situations?
Yeah,
okay.
They were in the studio.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Where's my glasses? Can't see anything.
Sorry. Okay, what I was told, they called me, I'll just start here. They called me, and well, I know all week long she's been in ISP, right? Doing great.
Okay.
And everything. We had a long talk. I mean, we've been doing awesome. And she told me, she said, Mom, she said, these 3 girls there are just, they won't leave me alone. They're making comments, they're calling us names, they're throwing stuff at us, and this is an ISP. I'm like, well, who's over this place? I said, ignore it, Dad.
The what, like, they had to die of like brain hemorrhaging or something. Like what, like, I don't understand. I don't understand anything that's going on here. And the cops have not been forthright with this whole incident. That's why we have this body cam footage now.
I mean, get above it. You know, just ignore it.
Sure.
She did until she couldn't in the bathroom. And they said that there was 3 girls that were on top of her, just beating the crap out of her. And I said, okay, so what are we doing about this? Oh, well, in a couple of days we'll talk about it. I said, no, I want something different.
Who said it in a couple of days?
The principal.
Okay.
Why are they saying that? I said, I think we need to have a police officer. It's assault. Because she never touched them. She never touched them. Now she did.
But based on your understanding.
Yeah. Now
Okay.
she did, and everyone has said it. She did throw some water at them because they, you know.
So let me, and I appreciate, Mom, you filling her in, but Miss Dagny, why don't you tell me?
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good, Mom. You're good.
Okay. I'm just mad. I'm very mad.
Sure. And I don't want to cut you off, but I like to hear from, especially the older they are, that they can tell me essentially what happened.
Okay.
So let me ask you this first. And I'm taking this off of what Mama did.
Thank you, cop, for
the
correct pronouns.
Confusion. When this first started happening, whatever this is going, this banter back and forth between you and the other individuals, did you at any point contact any school administration, whether it be counselor, the teacher that sits in that classroom? Did you let any of them know at any point in time?
No.
Okay. And I'm just asking, there's no right or wrong, but why not?
I didn't really see the point in it. I told my mom no.
Sure. But you didn't tell the school where they could actually do something. At any point during this whole situation, and I use the word loosely, but the bantering or whatever it is going back and forth between you guys. Obviously, you know each other. Obviously, you both
We don't know each other.
Well, you know of each other with the vape situations and all that.
No, before this we had no work left. Before this ISP thing, we never saw each other. The freshmen were sophomore.
Okay.
We didn't know any. I don't know their names. I don't know.
Okay. So they just up and decided to just start messing with you.
Yeah, because of the way that we dressed.
Okay, so you didn't do anything at all at any point in time that would have, even a couple days ago or even a month ago or anything like that?
I don't know these girls.
Okay, all right. So they just continue to pick on you and pick on you. Then at some point, You did what happened? They got up and confronted you in class, or or did you say it was the bathroom or the hallway? Okay, the bathroom.
We were going to stack chairs, and after we stacked chairs, we went to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I was talking with my friends, they were talking with their friends, and we were laughing, and they had said something like, "Why do they laugh like that?" And they were talking about us in front of us. And so I went up there and I poured water on them.
Okay.
And then all three of them came at me.
Pouring the water, because I'm trying to get this in my mind so I see, as best
I had
I
a
can.
water bottle.
Thank you. That's exactly. Where did you get this water? Was it a cup you found? Was it your water bottle?
It's my
your daily water bottle you carry around.
It was a plastic water bottle.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you squirted them with water, or threw water on whatever it was. Okay. Then at that point, what happened?
They came at me. They grabbed onto my hair. I grabbed onto them. I threw one of them into a paper towel dispenser, and then they got my legs out from under me and got me on the ground, started beating the shit out of me.
Okay.
And then my friends tried to jump in and help, but I'm not sure. I blacked out.
When did this happen today?
Around 1.
Okay, so around
1:15.
lunchtime?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to follow up, Mom, as far as you're concerned. I'm going to definitely follow up with the school tomorrow morning. Figure out, because, yes, any criminal type action, the school is supposed to give us a call.
That's good.
And they did not. And we heard the city councilman reaming the school board over this incident. We heard next describe the incident that would later lead to their death, like a day later. Reported dead on February 8th. Had a concussion and slept and shouldn't have, and died of a brain clot, possibly. I don't know. That is a death that is probably going to have some salience in the national conversation. I don't know. I don't know how much it's penetrated thus far. But it seems like it's picking up some traction. Not picking up some traction, though, is right-wing news sites. Quite the opposite, actually. There's some good news for your evening. Especially given what we've just seen, with Chirachik and the death of Nex. Right-wing news sites see traffic plummet at the start of 2024 compared with 2020. Breitbart is down 87%. Major hard-right media outlets saw their online traffic plummet in January of 2024 when compared with January of 2020, according to new data from the Writing. With an R, not a WR. Town Hall, Washington Free Beacon, and Breitbart have seen their digital traffic plummet a whopping 87% in the 2 years, according to the ComScore data set. Other major drops were registered by the Daily Wire, down 73%, and the National Review, down 71%. The Writing's Howard Polskin, who tracks major headlines and trends in right-wing media, noted that 2020 was a banner year for news, which led to a surge in digital traffic. Major 2020 events included the pandemic, the civil unrest following the death of George Floyd, the contentious battle for the presidency between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Unless some unfathomable incident occurs, it's hard to see how 2024 will come close to producing the same audience levels for most news brands from 4 years ago. That makes perfect sense. He offered his thoughts on the steep declines on the right, which he believes include consumer news avoidance and its cousin crisis fatigue, as well as the rise of alternative news sources. I will tell you that is very, guys, I stepping away, only doing two days a week, not even being on last week. Holy shit, being unplugged from the news is wonderful. I understand why people are out there just blissfully ignorant. It's nice. Going forward throughout this critical year, I expect similar or even sharper monthly losses in election year traffic from 2020 to 2024 for a variety of reasons. Jeremy Boring, the co-CEO of the Daily Wire, told Mediaite in a statement, everyone is suffering from Facebook's massive shift away from news. Mark Zuckerberg remade the news landscape when he moved his company into the space and then gutted it when he moved out. A capricious trillion-dollar company can crush entire industries without much effort. Daily Wire is disproportionately impacted because we were built with a focus on Facebook. Now our focus has shifted to more premium content. Oh gee, Jeremy, maybe we should own the means of production. And then Facebook can't just shift focus on you. Fox News not only led the right-leaning news sites that Polskin looked at with its 85 million monthly users in January 2024, but also fared among the best in terms of audience retention. Fox only dropped 24%, which is on par with other mainstream outlets like CNN and the New York Times, down 20 and 22% respectively. Notably, the Washington Post dropped a sizable 45% of its audience, while Newsmax saw a surge. A surge! 37% surge in Newsmax. Good evening, Battle Opossum. And here I am talking about how these right-wing sites and their traffic is going down. Let's give them some traffic because I want to make fun of some dumb shits. Apparently, John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard had some thoughts on the new Beyonce country song.
The lefties in the entertainment industry just won't leave any area alone, right? They just have to seize control over every aspect, don't they?
They've got to make their mark, just like a dog in a dog walk park. You know, every dog has to mark every tree, right? So that's what's going on here. Shania and the other folks.
I don't think that's the way dogs work, is it? I don't think they have to mark every tree. I think the cats have gotten every corner of my apartment, but I don't think a dog has to go out and mark every tree. I don't think John Schneider's ever fucking owned a dog. Fuck them Duke boys.
Every tree, right? So that's what's going on here. Shania and the other folks you talked about, what they did is they were in country music and they went out. You know, and that's one thing. But people coming into country music have because I know a little something about country music.
We're gatekeeping country music now. Beyonce can't be country music. Them Duke boys sure like being a victim. I love right-wing media takes on music. They make me happy. You want to get some more? Apparently, Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire doesn't like Ice Spice. Not pictured is Ice Spice. What in the fuck is this?
How did we become so weak? How did we become so servile? And I
don't think he look at that kid. He fucking split those spaghetti noodles. Tell me he looks weak. What the fuck are you talking about? He's just scrawny.
How did we become so weak? How did we become so servile? And I think Ice Spice actually demonstrates part of the way that happened. She
What?
has a new song out. It's called You Ain't the SHIT parentheses FART. Miss Spice, take it away.
Think you the what? You not even the fuck. I be going hard. I'm breaking it.
So you're not the shit. You're not even a fart.
Be thick, but I'm thicker. She could be rich, but I'm richer.
Keep going. That's all we need, actually. This reminds me of a line from Plato,
is thicker,
as the musings of Ice Spice often do. From, I forget exactly which book of Plato's Republic. He writes, quote, musical training
is a more potent instrument than any other, because rhythm and harmony find their way into the inward places of the soul, on which they mightily fasten.
Not high enough for this shit.
And making the soul of him who is rightly educated graceful, or of him who is ill-educated ungraceful. Which do you think this does?
I don't know.
Alan Bloom, great humanist and a great conservative writer of the 20th century, he, in his book Closing of the American Mind, had a chapter on how rock music is really bad for you because it arouses the base passions. And rock music is like Brahms compared to Ice Spice. This is music for animals. The music itself is for animals, just dunka 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 do, just jiggling around.
I don't know that I'm into what they call ratchet rap. I believe Ice Spice is the most famous of the ratchet rappers. I tend to like I even came around to mumble rap in the mid 2010s, like the Little Peep and shit. I was like, some of that grew on me. I came around to like Post Malone and shit. So like, I'm open to music, but I don't think I like ratchet rap. I like the motif though. Well, when I say ratchet rap, I've seen several of their videos in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven. And they've got like they got their cash like throwing it around in a parking lot of a 7-Eleven or in like a fucking Bojangles. So like, more power to you, girls.
Around smacking yourself as Ice Spice is doing. But the lyrics also are for animals. The animals. You think you're the SHIT BITCH, but you're not even the FART. You think you're rich, but I'm richer. You think you're quick.
Can he not say fart on his show? Will it offend? Because he's FART. Oh my God.
But I'm quicker, and it goes.
Content warning. FART. Oh.
And it's so disgusting and crass and vulgar. I can't get it out of my head. It's so over the top in its vulgarity that I find it funny, and I actually have texted it to a few people because I can't get over it. But it's very depressing because this is popular music. This isn't just some little track that came out from some unheard of musician on the internet somewhere as a joke. This was debuted at some big Spotify event. This is a woman who's done collaborations with Taylor Swift, other prominent musicians. I'm not as familiar with the Ice Spice oeuvre, but she's a very popular musician. And this is the kind of slop, cultural slop, that goes out there for, I'm sorry to say, we, the increasingly unwashed masses. This is it.
I don't think you're
bouncing
around. Hold on. I don't think that you are Ice Spice's target audience, Michael Knowles. I do not believe that she is marketing that song to you. I believe it's like the youngins. She's trying to get a giggle out of like the 18, 19-year-olds. This is nothing new. I can go back through the entire history of music. When I was that age, when I was an 18, 19-year-old, we had a little song called Bad Touch. I was hearing the fucking lyrics. You know, the "You and Me, Baby, Ain't Nothing But Mammals" song. You can go back in the entire history. Fucking Frank Zappa, one of the most brilliant musicians of all time, has several songs about farts and poops and stuff. Are you telling me that Frank Zappa is not a brilliant musician, Michael Knowles, just because he sang about some crass subject matter? Like Willie the Pimp? Or Why Does It Hurt When I Pee?
It's not really bouncing around your head. It's bouncing around your loins. It's bouncing around your lower passions. But what Plato says is true.
Don't get me started on some of those 20s jazz songs.
Passes and subverts your reason. So you're not reasoning about this. When you sit and listen to some classical music or Gregorian chant or something, it's much more intellectual. It's much more rational because...
Hold on. What, didn't a classical composer do a song called "Suck My Ass"? Like Mozart had a song. Yes, it is Mozart's Canon in B flat for 6 voices. Lick mich im Arsch. Literally translates to lick me in the arse. By Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Wrote a song called Lick Me in the Arse. Would you guys like to hear Lick Me in the Arse? This is Lick Me in the Arse by Mozart.
Leck mich in Arsch, lass uns froh sein, morgen.
Sorry.
Knurren, brummen ist vergebens, ist das wahre Kreuz des Lebens. Das Brummen ist vergebens, Knurren, brummen ist vergebens. Vergebens, drum, lass uns froh, völlig froh sein. Lass uns froh, völlig froh sein. Leck mich in Arsch, leck mich froh sein. Leck mich.
Apparently, the Insane Clown Posse covered this. Oh. I'm trying to get the lyrics here. I want the lyrics. Lick me in the ass quickly, quickly. Lick me in the ass quickly. Lick me quickly. Kiss my arse. Goeth. Goats von Birchlingen. You know the scene too well. Let us not shout the summary. Mozart here gets literary. Anyway, Mozart wrote a song called "Lick My Arse." So I don't want to hear jack shit about how crude and crass Ice Spice is, because I gave you multiple examples of geniuses throughout music history. So fuck off. Shakespeare was a perv, motherfucker.
You're not immediately aroused and bumping and grinding and bouncing and twerking and doing all the stuff that Ice Spice is doing. But this kind of music makes you behave less like a rational soul and more
Remy Amadeus,
just kind of bouncing around and thinking about bodily functions and fluids and movements. And if we treat ourselves and educate.
This is completely off topic. I'm sorry. I don't know why this brought this. Well, I know why it popped into my head. The first time I ever had sex with like my first true love, like with a girlfriend I had when I was like 19. The song "Rock Me Amadeus" was playing. And she ended up naming, yes, Falco was playing in the background, and she ended up naming her dog Amadeus. Amadeus. But then, here's the thing about that song, though, is like, it probably evokes The Simpsons more than anything for me, because when they do the musical of Planet of the Apes with Troy McClure when he marries Selma, they're like, Dr. Zaius. Cracks me up. I'm so sorry. I'm just popped into my head.
Educate ourselves to be like animals.
How am I thinking about sex while Michael Knowles is on the goddamn screen? I don't care. I've checked out. I don't even know what he's saying now.
All the stuff that Ice Spice is doing. But this kind of music makes you behave less like a rational soul and more just like an animal, just kind of bouncing around and thinking about bodily functions and fluids and movements. And if we treat ourselves and educate ourselves to be like animals, if this is the kind of stuff that forms our soul, then we're going to be ruled like animals.
What is the Mitch Hedberg joke where he went to like an Anthrax concert or a Slayer concert. And they're like, do you feel like a human? And he cheers for that because he didn't know that there was a second part. Or it asks if do you feel like an animal? And everyone cheered for that part. I'm sorry, I'm stoned.
And we're going to be ruled like a bunch of pigs and cows and sheep, which is increasingly how our political order works. The fight over the Senate's fake border security bill is heating up with...
He read Animal Farm recently. Is the rest of this just an ad? There's 2 minutes left in the video. Is it just an ad? Oh, poor Michael. That wasn't as fun as I was hoping it would be. They're really running out of steam on this whole outrage over musical artists now, aren't they? They've ran that one into the ground. Let's get some outrage over AI. Greg Gutfeld has some outrage about Google's AI. Hold on. It's probably more entertaining without the sound, to be honest with you. Probably was doing you a favor turning the sound off, but here we go.
Now to the news. He thought he was God Almighty.
That's my job, bitch. I'm the news gimp, not you. What is that shirt? Does he have a puppy on his shirt?
So he eliminated Whitey. We're learning more about the Google executive responsible for the Gemini artificial intelligence chatbot, which in the name of inclusivity actually generated historically false pictures, including depicting Nazis as black and Asian. You remember it? As if it were yesterday. Google's apologizing after their new AI Gemini chatbot created historically inaccurate pictures and refusing to show white people. Here's what popped up when Gemini was asked by Daily Wire writer Frank Fleming to create an image of a pope. Has there ever been a black pope? I mean, aside from Obama? A medieval knight? Nope. At least they didn't show Gladys Knight. Other humans started joining in on the fun, like David Burge, who asked Gemini to show him an image of a 1930s Indianapolis 500 winner. Yeah, incredibly, she won despite having her left blinker on the whole way. So in the name of diversity, if you ask for something or someone who would be typically white, what you'd get is a non-white. For example, I asked for the sexiest picture of myself, and I got this.
They're erasing the whites.
I did the same for Kat, and I got this.
They both are good public speakers.
I asked for a sexy picture of Julie Banderas, and it generated this. However, when we asked...
That doesn't even make sense.
It actually remained pretty accurate. Then we asked for a photo of Tyrus, and we got this. You think I want to get my ass kicked over a joke?
What you talking about, Gutfeld?
Gutfeld, I've seen him wrestle. If you can't kick his ass, there is something wrong. Like, that dude can't move. I don't know how his legs hold him up. He, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You want to act like Tyrus is some big badass? Just watch him wrestle.
But as predicted, the bozo behind this idiocy is a woken white beta male cuck loser. I've never said that before. The developer's past social media history has resurfaced, and turns out the past tweets of Gemini's senior director, Jack Krawczyk, reveal how he really feels about white people. And unlike his creation, they're real and historically accurate. Here are tweets from 2018. White privilege is real. And this is America, where racism is the #1 value our populace seeks to uphold. And we obviously have egregious racism in this country. Which tells you, as we said last night, it's not the program, it's the programmer. And it matters. Google is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful company in the world. It's worth over $1.7 trillion and has become inseparable from our daily lives. When we want to know something, we Google it. If someone Googles you, God knows.
I bet they actually think it's funny. Right-wingers are weird, man. I'm in these political groups and shit, and I'm in one that's dominated by right-wingers, and that's probably my favorite one. I like being the lone fucking leftist in there, or like one or two other people that chime in every now and again, but it's mainly me just taking on a wall of fucking idiots. But they just they laugh at the dumbest shit. They share the dumbest memes. And it's like, you find that funny? I don't get, there is something different about the brain of a conservative. They are just wired differently. And I don't get it. And they dumb. They real dumb. They pull people off the street for their show. That's why you get a lot of awkward kind of moments with the crowd, but it's starting to be a popular show through brute force, right? More people watch it than Stephen Colbert now, and that's mind-blowing because this is a cable show. But it's all the old people are watching Gutfeld before they go to bed. And Stephen Colbert is splitting, the hip audience on between Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and shit. All the other options. You got Jon Stewart back on Monday nights.
If you happen not to be as woke as its creators. With these identity-obsessed freaks in charge, it means whatever we get back from Gemini will be as truthful as CNN covering Nick Sandmann. But as disturbing as it is it really any surprise that the invisible hand controlling the racist AI is a reverse racist himself? My advice, if he really believes white privilege is real, he should resign as soon as possible so an honest non-white could have his role. That's how I got this job.
That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. What's the joke there? That Gutfeld is a non-white? And people laughed at it. Not everybody has been so cavalier about AI. Piers Morgan, a little upset after AI apparently spoofed him in a deep fake.
I like Isabel. I wasn't going to say this, but I think I will, just to be balanced about it, because the idea that he doesn't care, for example, about my mother and what happened to her and whatever facial reaction he showed
maybe
at the time. I can't.
Maybe this doesn't have anything to do with the deep fake. It's just a video of Piers Morgan attached to the story of Piers Morgan. Has become the latest celebrity to speak out on AI. Do we hear him speaking? God damn it. A deep fake is a digitally altered video. Yes, we know. Morgan was among the stars to criticize an online advert that falsely gave the impression they had endorsed influencer Wesley Billion Dollar Virgin's self-help course. The self-described motivational coach posted adverts which contained deep fake versions of Morgan and Nigella Lawson, among others. The clip featured what looked like a clip from Piers Morgan Uncensored, which saw a fake version of the presenter talking about a lost old scripture that has been used by kings to attract vast riches. Can we see this ad? Yes, we want to see the examples of the deep-faked videos. Warning!
Hi, I'm Peter.
Warning, these videos have been faked. So you guys know.
Hi, I'm Piers Morgan, and this is a modern-day Bible. Now, what if I told you the Bible has been manipulated, stripped of a lost old scripture that has been used by kings to attract vast riches, miraculous healing, and unparalleled love?
Not very good.
This verse is Matthew 17:21, and on this one it goes straight from 20 to 22, does not have 21.
What you just saw is just shocking manipulation.
My baking book, How to Be a Domestic Goddess, is one giant metaphor in disguise for reclaiming our lost Eden. You see, baking was my powerful manifestation ritual to overcome my abuse and hardships. After 25 minutes of nutmeggy fumes of baking pie,
Nutmeggy!
unexplained high and euphoria each time.
Wait a minute. Wait. Well, this wasn't necessarily written by AI, right? Somebody could have programmed this, because fucking nutmeggy. AI came up with nutmeggy? Somebody could have written this and then programmed it into the deep fake, though. Like, nutmeggy.
My baking book, How to Be a Domestic Goddess, is one giant metaphor in disguise for reclaiming our lost Eden. You see, baking was my powerful manifestation ritual to overcome my abuse and hardships. After 25 minutes of nutmeggy fumes of baking pie, I felt an unexplained high and euphoria each time. I became like a
That's
goddess,
deep.
resilient and filled with gratitude, love, and abundance. But I never told you about the hidden scripture I recited in my mind each time I baked. The script that's hidden from everyone's Bible.
It's like a baby learning to walk. At first they fall down, but eventually it becomes natural.
I want to know what this hidden scripture is now. I'm interested. You've sold me. The nutmeggy smell sold me.
That's why affirmations made me the richest black woman in America. That's why I'm worth $2.5 billion.
That don't even sound like Oprah.
Listening to this right now, I want to give you a 20-word script, and every night and morning, recite these 20 words over and over to rewire your subconscious mind. And you can get this 20-word script by clicking the link below this video.
That sucked. I'm still pretty confident. Now, apparently, they dropped that AI update, the Google Gemini that Gutfeld was bitching about. Like, I'm still pretty confident that AI is not going to put me out of business anytime soon. People keep telling me that, like, my job is on the chopping block. But I just, like, I've yet to have an AI script that was good. I've yet to see an AI video that was good. And I think we're in a backlash. Look under your seats below this video. I think we're in a backlash. That's where the hidden scripture of the Bible is at. They took it out of the Bible. It's under your seat. You get a hidden scripture. You get a hidden scripture. I think we're getting a backlash to this mass-produced, idiotic, mindless dribble content, and I think people want authenticity in their content. This last drop with the Google Gemini, it's made me wonder if perhaps I should start playing with the software and shit, seeing how I can incorporate it, utilize it, and make my workflow easier. That is where I see AI at the moment. I don't think I'm seeing AI take over my spot, but I feel like I might have to research it in the next couple of weeks and start incorporating it into my services that I offer. Everyone gets a hidden scripture. Goldfish, good evening. Well, so far, Photoshop gave me the tools 6 months ago, maybe. Maybe a little bit longer with the beta, and I played around with it, and it just did not do anything I wanted. And I watched tutorials, and people fucking typed in prompts, and it gave them back shit, and they were able to, manipulate it and shit. I couldn't make any fucking thing. And I'm like, I will say it has improved. I have new tools within the Adobe suite that I really appreciate. The quick selection tool. You now have like a select subject, and it's pretty fucking good. And it does a better job with hair than I do. So, bravo. I mean, it started saving me 20 seconds, 30 seconds on each picture I cut out. And just for, context, I cut out 4 or 5 different pictures for the thumbnail I made for the show tonight. I'm cutting shit out for clients all the time. As I understand it, it's trained. I thought maybe I need to come back to it now that it's out of the beta stage. I don't know. But also, there's another tool inside of Premiere. I can click and this made one of my gigs so much easier. I can click a clip. Like if it's already been edited and it's got multiple cuts, and I have a client that sends me their long form videos, and I cut them up and make them into TikToks and Reels and shit. And so it'll take like a 10-minute clip, and it will cut at every cut in the footage. Holy shit, that saved me an hour each fucking set of videos I do. So bravo to like the AI doing these different tasks. I didn't even think about, an automation tool that does that for me. And like it has saved me so much time in my workflow. I use it all the goddamn time. So bravo to shit like that. Because it's that menial shit about video editing that sucks ass. Other than that, I fucking love it. And text, I fucking hate doing text. But that's a thing right now. Is I've got a lot of TikTokers and YouTubers and shit. They want text. Because everybody's scrolling, not fucking actually watching videos with the sound on. Something like 60 or something % of the people, which I mean, I guess I do it too, but I don't really watch a lot of reels and blah, blah, blah. I'm still watching whole TV shows and movies and shit. Have I seen you? I did Barbieheimer. Is that what people were calling it? I enjoyed it. Good. Thumbs up to both movies. Long afternoon. But I enjoyed it. I threw out a bunch of Battle of Possum. I was like, here, I want to, here's this handful of movies. Pick one for me to watch. And he's like, you should do Barbieheimer, because Barbie and Oppenheimer were both on there. They do it at the same time. Do a double feature. Like, shit, you're right. Let's do it. And I did. Long ass afternoon. It was good, though. It was good. Jeopardy winner dubbed an instant legend after apparently accidentally making a sexual gesture. Oh, shit.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I feel embarrassment. My wife and I immediately made eye contact and laughed out loud when she did that. A Jeopardy contestant proved to be a real-life Sheldon Cooper. I don't get the reference. When she inadvertently suggested she knew way more about flags than sex.
Hayward has already been congratulated, but let's see what happens. Did she come up with Cambodia? She did, and she wagered. Nobody wagered anything. 16,400, Mira. That moves you to the semifinals. Congratulations.
She did the double dick. What the hell was that?
First, with $1,800, he wrote down, congratulations, Mira. Wow, he's already got that figured out. How much did you wager, Jesse? Not a penny, so I don't have to roll for or against you. That's good. Kate Campolita was in second place with 8,000, and she wrote down, what is Cambodia? That's correct. Angkor Wat on the flag. You wagered also nothing at all, leaving you with 8,000. Mira Hayward has already been congratulated, but let's see what happens.
Oh, she's doing zero because she wagered zero. Oh.
Did she come up with Cambodia? She did, and she wagered. Nobody wagered anything. 16,400, Mira. That moves you to the semifinals. Congratulations. What is Cambodia? That's correct. Angkor Wat on the flag. You wagered also nothing at all, leaving you with 8,000. Mira Hayward has already been congratulated, but let's see what happens. Did she come up with Cambodia? She did, and she wagered. Nobody wagered anything. 16,400, Mira. That moves you to the semifinals. Congratulations. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
For more great Jeopardy videos.
Hey, didn't they fire her? Didn't you get the fucking axe, girl? You Zionist woman, you. I don't think it had anything to do with that either. I think you just sucked at the job. Apparently they thought Ken Jennings was good enough and they didn't need Mayim Balak, who apparently they're probably paying a lot more.
Congratulated, but let's see what happens. Did she come up with Cambodia? She did, and she wagered. Nobody wagered anything. 16,400, Mira. That moves you to the semifinals. Congratulations.
She's pretty cute. I'd be one of the dicks. Wait, is Ken Jennings problematic? What's Ken Jennings done? Oh, clinically. Maybe one day we will cross swords. What? Oh, shit. I've never liked Blossom. I was never a fan. Thought she was annoying back then. I have a feeling about people. Never liked Elon Musk. Just had a gut feeling about him. You know what else I got a gut feeling about? This opossum. I got a feeling he's super fucking cute. This is baby Rufus eating a grape. I believe he's really enjoying his grape. They're adorable, as long as they're not doing their little, which is their defensive thing, right? They show their teeth and they make themselves kind of. If they ain't doing that, they're the cutest little fuckers. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. I don't think we've got anything coming up between now and Thursday. We've got some things coming up, though. There's going to be a State of the Union here. It's not this week, but next. I think it's the first week of March. We've got Super Tuesday coming up. I promise you, not only will I stick to the Sunday, Thursday schedule, we'll have other shows. We'll find out what that news be doing. We got shit going on. It's an election year. Light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you Thursday night on the Troll Patrol.